I appreciate big voice guy, but he lied to you. We are not at the corner of 12th and Rose today. We're at the Brandt Center, which will be absolutely electric tonight. Regina Pats, Saskatoon Blades, Tuesday night hockey, Western Hockey League. We have the show here for the next 3 hours. What do we got for you? On this Tuesday, for Saskatchewan Lotteries, the main fundraiser for sport, culture, and recreation in our fine province. Ryan Pollock is going to be in about 30 minutes time. He's going to co-host with me. If you're watching the stream, sportscage.com or on X right now, you see the man, one of the C's, who's usually on the other side of things. That's Curtis right there. So I know a lot of you love when Curtis chimes in.
Hey, Saskatchewan.
With all his intellectual sporting knowledge. So that is Curtis. I guess he's going to sit here until Ryan gets here. And then after that, he might sit on the other chair. We're not quite sure. We do have guests. If you've been following the Twitter and the socials, Ben Hebert from Regina, who won the Brier Sunday night. We talked about it yesterday. We teed it up. We gave you a tease. We gave him the day off yesterday, but he's going to join us today, hour 3, around 3:35. We'll talk to the Brier champ from Regina, former Regina Thunder, and now off to the Worlds with his team. Hour 2, Arash Madani. Haven't been following the NFL free agency probably enough today. So Coulson and the Sheriff back at the station. If I'm missing anything huge, feel free to chime in at some point. Arash Madani, we'll talk NFL with him. Clutch performer coming up in hour 2. And then it gets busy with a couple of interviews. Zach Moore from the Regina Pats will join us live and in person here. And then after that, the SJHL report for Southie Mainline Chrysler, the new king of trucks. The commissioner of the SJHL, Kyle McIntyre, will be here. Very curious if he's wearing a nice sport coat or if he's wearing SJHL head-to-toe gear. Always nice when the commissioner can stop by and make some time. I want to ask him, the Estevan Bruins just released that they are putting out calls for applications for a new head coach and general manager. So if you're thinking about a career change and you think you can coach an SJHL team, throw your name in the hat there. Hour 3. I've actually been waiting to do this interview for a long time. And I think it's interesting. And there's a lot of you out there that don't know the story. Some of you do. And it's going to be a good chance to hear it from his side of things. Greg Mayer, head athletic therapist for our Saskatchewan Roughriders, former athletic therapist with the Regina Pats and Moose Jaw Warriors. He's going to join us. I want to find out about that move, the transition, what the biggest challenges of the jobs are, how he got into this, how did that change happen. Greg's a good guy. So that'll be hour 3. And then Dan DaSilva, head coach of the Saskatoon Blades. They're going to get off the Iron Lung, and he's going to make his way up here to have a chat. And we'll talk WHL. They're in an absolute dogfight right now for positioning in the Eastern Conference. So that's the rundown of the show. You can always have your say. We encourage you to have your say. Thanks to everyone who's been messaging in the last few days, whether it's local hockey we're missing around the area coming up tonight that you want to shout out or a plug for, we can do that. Maybe it's a clutch performer, something that's happened in one of these provincial minor hockey games. I know there's some high school basketball going on as well. It's always the Prairieland Rentals text line, 936-6262. Prairieland Rentals since 1986, 600 Albert Street, whether you need the skid steers or something smaller, the little ride behind like I'm allegedly going to get. You get to deal with the owner, and they have it all. Prairieland Rentals and Sales, 600 Albert Street, 936-6262. We also have giveaways today, but we always want engagement from you, the listeners, and in turn, we like when it's possible to give you something. So we have a couple of different things to give away today. We'll be giving away tickets to the March 18th Regina Pats Swift Current Broncos game here at the Brandt Center. Why is that one a little bit more important on the 18th of March? Because it's Farmer Appreciation Night. It's brought to you by Canada's Farm Show, as well as Thunderstruck Ag Equipment. So you get tickets to the game, 2 tickets. You also get to come by at 4 o'clock or 4:30 or 5, whenever you get off work or whenever you can make it down here, because they have a big pregame concert planned. We talked about it yesterday. Hell and Back, the AC/DC cover band, is playing. And, with Canada's Farm Show going on, the spillover. So you get a ticket to the game, a ticket to the pre-party. And if you just want to buy tickets for it, there's a special price, $21.50 that night for the Pats and Broncos. It's brought to you by Thunderstruck Ag Equipment and Canada's Farm Show. So we got those 2 tickets to give away. And then when Ryan gets here from the Royal Regina Golf Course, who's my co-host today, we have 2 hours at one of the simulators. So if you want to go swing the golf clubs or the wrenches, as the kids and D-Gens call them, before the snow melts and you got to get out there and you have the first tee with your buddies, get into the sims at the Royal Regina. There's 4 of them. There's some of the best technology in Saskatchewan when it comes to the sims. They're right in the restaurant and bar, so it's a great atmosphere. Ryan will talk more about that, but it's 2 hours of sim golf. Now, what we need from you on the Prairie Land Rentals text line is we're at the Brandt Center here, the Agrodome, and the Regina Pats obviously aren't going to make the postseason. The Moose Jaw Warriors aren't going to make the postseason. The Saskatchewan teams that probably are, I know Swift Current's still in a bit of a fight, is the Swift Current Broncos, the Saskatoon Blades, the Prince Albert Raiders. We're even going to throw Brandon in. We can make a little cutout there. We'll call Brandon part of Saskatchewan. It's our Eastern Division teams. Now, with the Pats and the Moose Jaw Warriors not competing in postseason hockey, who does the SportsCage listener nation, I hate when people call it nation, actually. We go with something else. SportsCage listeners, who are you going to cheer for?
Hey, SportsCagers, what are you listening for?
What a chime in.
You're welcome.
That's why he's here, right there. Who are you going to cheer for when it comes to the Western Hockey League playoffs? Maybe it's somebody totally, maybe you have ties to Medicine Hat. Maybe you have ties to the Lethbridge Hurricanes, Edmonton Oil Kings. Whatever. Who are you going to kind of put your allegiance behind this postseason? Swift Current, Saskatoon, Prince Albert, Brandon, 936-6262. So you got to tell us the team, and then if you either want hockey or golf, or if you want both. I know some of you are out there are smart. They're going to play both sides of the fence.
And
that's
Barney's
what I would do.
Very generous. He's willing to do it.
It's all on Cole. It's all on Colson and the sheriff. When the sheriff's in, everybody runs things a little tighter. That's not as loosey goosey as some would say back at the shop. So 936-6262. What team? And then do you want to golf or hockey? Go to the hockey game on the 18th, or both. Let's hear it. Who's everybody putting their effort behind when it comes to the Western Hockey League? Can we go to the Western Hockey League standings while we're here? So people, if you're watching the stream, sportscage.com or on X, you'll get an idea of where things stand and why things are that important here. So you see the Saskatoon Blades, 73 points in 6th place. Prince Albert Raiders are 74. Now, some of you are like, why is it like Eastern Conference, Western Conference? Because the Eastern Division is in there. So the team that finishes first in the Eastern Division will get the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference. So right now it's the Prince Albert Raiders with 74 points on 62 games played. The Saskatoon Blades have played 61 games. So they have a game in hand, which we can call tonight that game in hand. They're only 1 point back of the Raiders. So when we talk to head coach Dan DaSilva in hour 3 of the Saskatoon Blades, tonight they could move into that 2nd seed. And that 2nd seed, as of right, if it was starting today, if they win, they would have a 1st round matchup with the Brandon Wheat Kings. Medicine Hat would get Swift Current. It's a short little bus ride. That's a 2-hour little bus ride. You stop at that fancy gas station in Maple Creek there. They sell not fireworks. What are those things called that the kids buy? You throw them on the ground and they pop. That's what my kids bought last year on the way to
firecrackers.
Firecrackers.
Yeah.
You scare the snot out of people, and I'm like, they're like throwing them around the gas pumps, and I'm like, hey, you clowns, maybe not around there. Yeah, but you can if you want to stop at that Maple Creek gas station, go nuts. There's always cheap gas on the outskirts of Medicine Hat there, but Swift Current and Med Hat could play if playoffs started right now. While we're doing standings, let's go to this. Last night, AAA Midget was there was one series left, Game 5, Moose Jaw Estevan, and it was Carson Dykert, 2 goals, 1 assist, leading Moose Jaw to a 5-2 win over Estevan. Great job on the underdog Estevan Bears pushing this to Game 5. Moose Jaw advances. Shout out Luke McKechnie, 29 saves in the pipes. So Moose Jaw will now take on Swift Currents. If you're watching the stream, you see that there. Not sure on the dates of that one. The Pat Canadians will face off against their rivals from Saskatoon, the Blazers. We do know that will start Wednesday at the Cooperators C6. At the Sixer, then they're going Sunday at the C6. I'm trying to hold on. I'll pull up the actual schedule. We don't have the schedule for the stream, but I have it here. But Wednesday, regardless, if you're going to the 6, it's going to be a good contest.
You got any early predictions, Barney?
Blazers have underachieved. I'm always Pat C's.
All right.
There's only one other C's that I cheer for, and they're not in the postseason right now. So always Pat C's. Yeah, so the schedule, shout out Warren Fry, who sent this to me bright and early this morning. Game 1 is Wednesday, 7:30 at the Sixer. Game 2, they go back to the Ham, West Side, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, 8 p.m. That's a Friday night, 8 p.m. game. Keep your head on a swivel. And then Sunday, they're back at the 6, 7:45. Game 4 is Tuesday, to be determined. I heard it might be at the Lions Arena.
I heard
in Saskatoon.
I thought you were going to say the only other C's you cheer for are the ones behind the desk, usually.
You're like, I'm trying to. It's so. Yeah, keep going.
Okay, sure, why not?
So that's AAA Midget. What else? Prairie Junior Hockey League. They're not starting until Saturday in the Fort, Capitals and Fort Knox. So a long week of practice and rest for both teams before they pick it up. AAA female. This is where I wanted to go next. I apologize. Notre Dame, a 3-1 win over the Regina Rebels last night to even that series. They're 1-1. AAA female. It's tonight, 7 p.m. If you have nothing to do, if you're not coming to this game tonight at 7 p.m., you don't got anything else to do, 7 p.m. at the Co-op, Game 3, deciding game, Notre Dame and Regina, AAA female Rebels to go on to the next round. Shout out Anna Benoit last night, the lone goal scorer for the Regina Rebels. While we're doing this, let's go senior hockey last night. Drake 4-3 over Foam Lake. I think they scored with under 10 seconds left. The surprising Drake Canucks are up 1-0 in that series. Kyle versus Kenaston tonight in the Sask Valley, Game 2. Kenaston's up 1-0. Moosomin and in Redvers, Game 1 of the Big 6 final. That'll be a good one, actually. Moosomin and Redvers. So there's a rundown of everything locally that we can give you on this evening. 936-6262. Prairie Land Rentals text line. Who are you putting your energy behind if you're cheering for a Western Hockey League team this postseason with the Pats? Moose Jaw Warriors not in the dance. Let us know. A chance to win Pat tickets to the Farmer Appreciation Night, March 18th. You get into the pre-party with the AC/DC cover band, brought to you by Thunderstruck Ag Equipment and Canada's Farm Show, or 2 hours of sim golf at the Royal Regina Golf Club. It is a SportsCage. We're streaming sportscage.com. We're on X streaming as well. We're live at the Agrodome under the orange top on 620 CKRM. All right, back here at the Brandt Center. Pat's Saskatoon Blades tonight. You see him if you're watching the stream. He's here now. Ryan Pollock going to be with me for the 3 hours. So did you hear the question that I'm posing to people with the Pats and kind of Warriors out of the mix? who are people going to be cheering for when it comes to the Western Hockey League? A chance to win 2 tickets to the Pats and Broncos Farmer Appreciation and Tailgate Party on the 18th, or if they want to golf, 2 hours at the Royal Regina. Give the quick spiel on the Regina Sims. And they're busy right now.
Yeah, it's been really good throughout the entire winter, but people are starting to get excited again that spring is on the horizon. We can see some melt, see some grass poking through in some
Fake
spots.
Spring.
They trick you a little bit, but for sure it gets the excitement going. So GS Pro, awesome, real life graphics, best ball analyzation software out there. Really, really good atmosphere, food and beverage. Come and practice by yourself on the range, or bring a few buddies and get around in at Augusta National or whatever course you'd like. We have over 1,000 courses available, so it's been really good, and we'll keep her going here for about the next 6 weeks until this outdoor season opens.
Nice little prime rib sandwich special this week.
Yeah, little prime rib sandwich.
Hit the range and crush a prime
rib. Exactly. It's been actually really good, Barney, if we're not going to dive into it too much, but we've been noticing some members and some public come over for a lunch break. They'll have lunch, hit some balls for an hour, and then race back out the door back to the office. So nice little convenient workout, if you will.
I find as I'm getting older and not as in good a shape, obviously, is hitting balls before the season, or like we got the work trip down south here in a bit and playing some golf there. But it's it can be taxing on the knees the first few swings, and I know it sounds like old and I sound soft, but probably a lot of people get in to do that. And then when do they shutter the?
We're going to take them down in mid-April. We got some
pre-Masters
just after.
So that'll
just after the Masters. Yep. So
buzzing spot.
Yes, and then we have some club events that we do before we actually open, so they come down and then we get set for the season.
Should have a SportsCage shootout. Some end of season, preseason. Travis messaged in, cheering for PA, golf and hockey. Travis from Regina. I thought I was going to say Travis from PA, and I was going to be like, he probably plays the cook. Barney, I love that you included Brandon. That's a 204 number. Of course, nothing wrong with Brandon, except when you go to their hockey tournaments, they tell you what hotel you have to stay in.
They'll stay and play.
They dictate everything. I think that's just more the spring thing. Wayne from Regina cheering for Saskatoon. Lee says cheering for Saskatoon. James, since the Pats are going to be the playoffs, I'm cheering for Medicine Hat. How is it going to be decided on who gets Maddox Schultz? Enter me for both prizes. Well, since you bring that up quickly, you know how this works, because Moose Jaw's pick is Edmonton's. Edmonton gets Moose Jaw's pick.
Yeah.
And then Edmonton gets Seattle's pick.
Edmonton also has Seattle's pick as well. Yep.
And then the Regina Pats have their own. So the Edmonton Oil Kings have the best odds. However,
as of today. So it's a 6-team lottery. The 6 teams that don't make the playoffs go into a lottery. The last place team has 6 balls in the lottery. The second last place team has 5.
So Edmonton's got 11.
Well, no, Seattle's in the playoffs. So we just discovered this the other day. If you only look at the overall standings, it looks like Seattle's in the bottom 6, but because in the Western Conference, they're actually going to sneak into the playoffs. So that's the key wording in there, is it's the 6 non-playoff teams. So
Edmonton has 6 balls.
Edmonton will have 6 balls as it stands today, with the Warriors 3 points back of the Pats. But Edmonton would have 6 balls in the lottery of Moose Jaws, and then down to 1 for the 6th last place team. And then the ball comes out. So only the bottom 3 teams, though, can win the first overall pick. So it looks like, the Moose Jaw / Edmonton pick there, Regina and Kelowna look like they're locked in as the bottom 3. So it's narrowed it down to those 3 picks.
What does my gut tell me that Kelowna's going to somehow win? It's kind of like the Western the Memorial Cup. Everyone didn't think it was going there. Medicine Hat, brand new barn.
Yeah.
Lethbridge got stuff going on.
Best draft eligible player in the world right now.
Yeah, it's the no-brainer. It's Medicine Hat. Wait, what?
Well, and Kelowna would make it interesting because they have to do some work to get to that get to that Memorial Cup standard. So what do they end up doing with that pick, whether it's 1, 2, or 3?
Very, very good. See, that's why we bring you on here. It's not just for the roast beef updates at the Royal Regina.
That's right.
Yeah. So a guy that you know as well, Ben Hebert, wins the Brier on Sunday night. Pretty exciting. He's standing by. So let's go to a quick break, and then we're going to have Brier champ from Regina, Ben Hebert. It's the Sports Cage. Streaming live, sportscage.com. On X, we're live at the Brandt Center before the Pats and Saskatoon Blaze tonight, of course, always on 620 CKRM. We're back. Barney, Shynkaruk, Brian, Pollock, Sheriff Allen, and Colson back at the studio. Curtis is helping us out here. Pats and Saskatoon Blades tonight, 936-6262. Prairie Land Rentals text line. We're giving away tickets to the Regina Pats and Swift Current Broncos March 18th. Farmer Appreciation Night. It's a little tailgate party with an AC/DC cover band from Thunderstruck Ag Equipment and Canada's Farm Show, and also 2 hours of sim golf at the Royal Regina. You got to let us know, who are you putting your allegiance behind in the Western Hockey League playoffs with the Regina Pats and Moose Jaw Warriors both out this year. But we teased it. We teased it on socials. We tried to get him yesterday. He said hard no-go. Western Pizza guest hotline. Always a great night for Western Pizza, all the Greek favorites and the pizza that you love. Benny Hebert is joining us from look at what's in the background. That's a flex. If you're watching the stream, is that the real deal, or is that like a cardboard cutout?
There's only one of those, boys. That's the real deal right there. I put it on just for you guys today.
How did you end up getting it for the first few days, or how does that work with the crew?
We, Brad had to fly back to Ontario, so he couldn't take. They weren't even going to let us take it. I'm like, guys, I'm taking it. So, this thing's hard enough to win. There's no chance I'm sending this back to Ottawa on a box. So Mark Kennedy actually drove to Kelowna, and me and Brett Gallant had a dinner with Erasmus Anderson and a bunch of the Flames last night. It was a hockey dinner, private dinner at a Ruth Chris Steakhouse here downtown Calgary with ATB. And it was a hockey dinner till the boys rolled in with the tankard. Then we turned it into a curling party. So it was awesome.
Well, that's awesome. We had Devin Haru on yesterday, and he talked about taking that red-eye flight, and he went to the hotel, and then he saw you guys were just starting to put the pedal down and all that. And then that's what I texted you. I said, well, because your son Griff was tarpless at the game. I said, in the hotel lobby, was Benny getting after it? Was he tarpless in the hotel lobby? So how late did it go? How was the party after?
Oh, it was best. It was awesome. You guys been to that Okanagan, the Delta there on the water in Kelowna?
No. Is it anything like Prince Albert Travelodge?
It's right across the street from where the Rockets play, and we're right on the water. We had a big kind of an outdoor covered tent, and it was a beautiful night. We had tons of family. My dad was there, a bunch of my aunts and uncles, a bunch of my cousins, my wife, kids, my father-in-law, and then we all kind of had our own crew of parents and wives and kids. So it was amazing because, on the ice, you celebrate together. When we got drug tested for 90 minutes after, we couldn't piss. So we were crushing beers in the locker room trying to piss. And then we finally were able to go to the washroom, and we got back to the hotel probably not till 11. It wasn't too late. I think they cut us off at 2 was last call. And then our game was actually being replayed on TSN at whatever time. We kind of caught the last maybe 2-3 ends with a mega buzz before we went to bed. So it was awesome. And it was most special just because of the people we got to spend it with, to be honest. Yeah. But it was a great backdrop, a little different than when we won it in Brandon. Look at that unit.
Yeah, if you're watching the stream, there it is right there. Sorry, Rye, but you mentioned that it was special just because of all the people and the other ones that you've won, Benny. But now, the kids can really experience it. They're going to remember this.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. It's that was the best part about it. I won a bunch when I was young before I had kids. And, now that they're kind of getting into their own sports, I'm so damn busy running them around. But it was special to have them there and be involved.
That's awesome. Congrats, Benny. Great to talk to you here. You talk about the setting in Kelowna there for sure, but maybe just touch on the atmosphere within the arena as well at Prospera Place. Beautiful spot, and every time it seemed like I watched throughout the week, and especially the weekend, it seemed like really engaged crowd, even having a little bit of fun during the final, throwing some chirps out, if you will, but seemed like a really lively place. There must be, really a shot of energy for you guys playing throughout a week like that as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's why the Brier's the best event there is, man. I mean, first weekend was sold out, jammed up, and then, a little bit of a lull kind of the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday when, the regular folk have to go back to work. I get it. It's kind of the same every Brier, but final weekend was packed, sold out, no tickets. We don't get to play in front of that all the time when we're grinding in Lloydminster and Bonnyville and Yorkton. So to be able to get there to Kelowna and play in front of a sold out barn, you get the butterflies going and the goosebumps going on the arms, and that's kind of why we do it. It's why I still do it with my old ass for tournaments like that, kind of get the juices flowing. And it was amazing. We probably had a group of 30, 40 people there from Calgary, family and friends, a few Sasky people out, and we had our own little section, and yeah, it was great. It was rowdy in there, and place went nuts when we made this last one here. Oh, I got butterflies just watching this. Oh, baby. So yeah, it was pretty awesome, boys.
I love the Bonnyville shout out, by the way. Spent 5 glorious years there. But hey, let's talk the sports side of it quick, Benny. Like, how do you guys maintain that emotion, a long run back? I believe it was 4 elimination games you had to play in a row. How do you get by those and then kind of settle yourself back down and lock back in on the next opponent? And even Sunday with both real tight matches. How do you guys stay even keel and focused in on what's next?
Yeah, it was a tough one. When we were 8-0 there and we lost to Gushu to fall 4 back. I think what kind of kept us going, honestly, is we knew we had a chance. I know been a lot of Briers where you start playing and you kind of see the mojo you have or how the guys are playing, and you just kind of know midweek, like, this isn't our week, or we're grinding, or we're really struggling. And this week, it had a little bit of a different feel to it. I think we confidently knew if we went and played our best, we thought we were the best team. It's always nice being the favorite. All that really means is if you play good, you got the best chance to win. And so that was kind of nice. We had such a good season to put us in that spot. So I think, honestly, the process of just, we lost 1 game, we were 8-1. We knew we were 4 back, but if we were 4 back and not playing very well, and maybe one of us was struggling or the confidence was leaking, I think it would have been a bit of a different story. But we had the mojo going. We were really confident behind the scenes, and we had some good swagger going, a lot of hard work put in prior. So I think we just kind of stuck to it. And I think we all knew if we played good, we were going to have a chance in the end. And we knew it was going to be tough. You got to roll through Gushu Dunstone. That's a tough time to win in any tournament, let alone the Brier. But I got a few breaks along the way and made them pay when we got some opportunities. And here we are going to the draw.
No doubt. Yeah. So like you mentioned, or we showed Brad Jacobs on that. If you want to show that again on the stream, please, Colson, that last shot. And he got into the hack like so quick and came out, and I'm like, what is he doing? What shot is he going for? Like the confidence of that shot, Ben. I don't know curling that well. So then he makes it, boom. You guys throw the brooms, and then this hug right here, like that is emotion, man. I didn't go back and look at like the other times that you've won it, but that you can just tell right there, right? Like that emotion and what you guys went through, like this was special.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, I literally have goosebumps right now watching that. Yeah, it's tough in the moment because you don't really plan. Like if you're up 3 coming home or up 4 coming home, I've been in the Olympics up 3 coming home, kind of like, okay, what am I gonna do for my celly? How are we going to do this here? But like in a game like that, when you don't necessarily know if you're going to win, but and it just kind of happens, you just kind of black out a little bit, or at least I black out with rage and excitement, and a lot of relief. And I mean, a lot of hard work goes into that. We didn't just win the Brier by putting in a little bit of work behind the scenes. It's the daily grind and a lot of sacrifices, and so you see a lot of emotion and happiness and relief and everything kind of come pouring out at the same time, and doing it with new teammates that I've never done it with before. So yeah, that hug with Brad Jacobs, we used to battle on the ice all the time and chirp each other and probably hated each other at times too. But man, he's a great leader and such an amazing skip, and I love him. And he leads by example. He's one of the best leaders I've ever played for. So that was a man hug. I said to the guys after I saw the replay on TSN of the 4 of us getting together for a hug, and I'm like, man, you know what I felt like? This sounds a bit soft, but like when I was hugging the boys after, I felt like loved. I was like, I love these guys. We go to battle together in war, and it was just like, I knew it's exactly where I wanted to be. So it was a great feeling, guys.
And then, it's always, don't get me wrong, it's always special to win it. You talked about that. But now you're kind of coming home for the Worlds, right? Like, I'm sure, I don't even know how many texts you would have got from all your buddies in Regina, all the D-gens that you play golf with when you're back here, all that. I'm sure hitting you up for tickets, what's the plan, all that. But it's just so special for you to be coming basically back home.
I'm for sure the most excited person to be going to Moose Jaw out of everybody. I was telling some buddies that, and work friends here and some people I coach ball with that the Worlds are in Moose Jaw. They're like, no way. I'm like, do you know how amazing it is that I'm going to Moose Jaw? So, I mean, one, obviously close to Regina, we're family and friends, but I grew up, a lot of my junior years growing up, I played in Moose Jaw. We played at the base. I curled with the Montgomerys out of Moose Jaw for years. So, we got a lot of friends there too that I curled against, and super pumped to see a bunch of familiar faces. I know last year the Brier was awesome in Regina. I forgot how many people in the curling community that I knew growing up that I hadn't seen. And, I expect to see them all again this year. So that's pretty awesome. And, I was laughing with my wife. I'm like, how many people do I talk to on a weekly basis? Is like, like 9, maybe 8. Okay. I had 411 text messages. So I was just like, who are all these peeps? But bunch of beauties reached out, people I hadn't heard from in a while. And so it's great to get the support and to know I'm not too far on the back burner, that they haven't lost my number. So no one's asked for free tickets yet.
Bo Levi Mitchell reach out? I know you guys are tight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he sent me a nice message. Yeah, today. He was awesome. So.
Hey, Benny, how quick do you guys... Go ahead. What's that?
No, I was going to say, I talked to him. The old rider coach, Craig Dickinson, sent me a nice text too. So that was good.
I think he's a beauty.
Yeah.
Hey, how soon do you guys start turning your attention towards the Worlds, trying to potentially get familiarized with teams as they start qualifying? Do you spend time looking at their trends, how they like to play the game, anything like that?
Good question.
Yeah, big time. So I would say we probably know out of the 12 teams, we know 6 or 7 of them really well. We've played them all year, and we don't need a lot of film on them. But there's about another 5 teams we don't know super well. But now that kind of we're Curling Canada's team, they have a full analytics team that they'll get behind us and give us a bunch of stuff pre-tournament to look at some stuff, whether it be, what certain teams like to do when they have the hammer, what they do to try to steal, what ends they like to score in. I'm not super down the analytics road like a lot of people are, but we'll have all that data. And for the most part, it's going to be on us to go out and play good. So, when we got home last night, got home a little late, took her easy today. Tomorrow I'm back to the Cairo massage, get this old frame back working, and then I'll be back on the ice Thursday. So took a few days off here just to recharge the batteries. We'll start throwing rocks Thursday, and then my son has a hockey tournament this weekend, and my daughter has her U15 curling provincials. So my wife's going to Grand Prairie. I'm in Calgary working the hockey scene and sneaking a few practices and keep the game sharp. So pumped to get to the jaw.
I was wondering, because I know you've been traveling a lot with Griff, playing in that league and around in his hockey. You were telling me that earlier. How do you get the trophy back? Like, what's the plan there? Is it going to be like the Seinfeld episode, or Kramer just keeps the Tony until they really pull it away from him, or how long are you keeping that?
I think, Mark Kennedy, my third, runs the biggest junior spiel in the country next weekend, and my daughter's playing in it. So I think I'm probably driving it up to Edmonton next weekend with the crates. And then honestly, once I get it to him, he can do whatever he wants with it. Then it's off my plate. But I gotta take it. I'm gonna take it to my ball team's practice probably tonight, and then my son's hockey practice tomorrow. A bunch of the parents are grilling me. They want to have a beer out of the trophy, and I'm like, absolutely. So I'll take it for a couple days, and then I'll send her off to the gang.
I was hoping maybe that he'd keep it and bring it to the Royal at some point, but he won't have it.
Hey, Royal Regina member guest, I could bring the tankard home. Me and Davey Lowe hoist the 6th flight, maybe playing with Dave Albadias. Maybe we could win the 6th flight, and I can bring home the tankard.
We'll present it to you.
The pressure will be the same, right? Pulling that 6th flight and the Brier, very, very similar.
Friday night we'll do the flight awards, and we'll present it to you again.
There's a lot more pressure golfing when, one, you're not very good, like me, and 2, when your partner's in his pocket 50% of the holes. Okay? Davy Pocket Dog Low, I call him.
Oh, that's classic. Can't wait for Moose Jaw. Are you flying or going to be driving with the crew to Moose Jaw? How are you doing that?
I'm driving. Oh, it's too quick. Like Highway 1 double laner.
Yeah.
I've driven it a million times. Keep me out of the airports and the brutal lines. I'm taking my truck all day.
Awesome. Yeah. What do you, anything you're going to hit up in Moose Jaw while you're there? Maybe Knits, or is there a favorite that you go to?
I thought we'd be like, here's the thing. I haven't been to the Jaw in a while. A couple years back, we went with our ball team. I think we stayed at like the Best Western or the Ramada, like right off the highway there, where the old was there an A&W there maybe, or I can't remember what was there, but
yeah.
There by the Bonanza. There used to be a Bonanza there. Is it gone?
Long gone. Gone.
Okay, so we were staying on one of those new hotels, but I thought maybe for the Worlds they'd have us at the spa, maybe throw us at the Mineral Spa. Like, what's a nice hotel there these days? Because we're at the Best Western. Like, we're eating pre-cooked eggs, microwaved eggs for breakfast, guaranteed. Ready crisp bacon from the Best Western in the Jaw. And my wife and kids booked a suite at the Mineral Spa. And I get thrown at the Best Western, so that's where I'm at.
So you'll just be the guy walking across the street with your trunks, sneaking in for a dip. I love it.
For a dip. Yeah, I don't know what there is to do in the Jaw these days. Like we used to go to the Royal there a little bit, and that's still open.
It'll be buzzing. I know there's like 4 or 5 limo buses that were planned of guys from the Royal, all that were going even pre you winning. So now with you winning.
Hey, speaking of which, talked to Ripper yesterday, Todd Ripplinger. Okay, got me in touch with his bro. No, I needed something from him. He got me in touch with his bro. We're getting the Moose Jaw Warriors locker room for the week. They're treating the host, the Canadian team, good. My good buddy Kip Simon making me a bunch of Canada stuff today at 22 Fresh. I'm hitting up every Regina homie that I've ever done something for. I'm like, it's time. I need some love back right now. And so I think Ripper's going to line up his little bus there, and we're going to bring a bunch of buddies up for a couple games. So it's going to be good.
Awesome. That is such a great idea. Congratulations, Benny. Thanks for taking some time today. Great backdrop. Wouldn't expect anything less. That's priceless. Thanks for hopping on.
Hey, boys. Thanks a lot. I hope to see you in Moose Jaw for a couple games.
Yeah. Hey, and only one F-bomb today. Good job.
Are we live?
Yeah, of course we're live. It's all right.
Yeah, it's not bad for me. Sorry for the sponsors. I appreciate your support. Sorry.
See ya, Benny. Have a good one.
See ya, boys. Have a good one.
Yeah, Regina's Brier champion, Ben Hebert. Things will go nuts in Moose Jaw.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome. When they came, was it the Brier here just a few years ago?
Last year.
Yeah. It was buzzing in here for that, obviously. Big tournament with him here, and she'll be amped up even more down the highway, and a little road trip for the boys, if you will, and it'll be a fun time.
And Catlin Schneider last year, and they were both back, right? It was the patch was awesome, and you know what? Made classic, very classy people, the Ripplingers, to do that. Mm-hmm. Todd and Jason. I'm sure the room will be all decked out. Kip Simon, 22 Fresh. I heard he's making City Champ shirts right now for the Pat Blues. So then probably Ben's stuff will be
right after that.
Yeah. I think is how he'll probably do that. Great interview. Thanks to Ben again. It is the Sports Cage. We're streaming on sportscage.com on X. We're live at the Brandt Center. It's the Pats and Saskatoon Blades. Quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Brandt Center. Here we go. Pats and Saskatoon Blades tonight. Ryan Pollock with me, the Sheriff Alan Lee, and Colson back at the bunker. And Curtis is here. He's looking up Western Pizza pictures right now. Thanks for tuning in. We got some giveaways today, because we like to do, when we're engaging people, we like to give some stuff away. Farmer Appreciation Night, March 18th, Pats Broncos. It's only $21.50 a ticket. Canada's Farm Show's putting it on with Thunderstruck Ag Equipment. So you get the game ticket and you get tickets to the pre-game concert hell and back AC/DC cover band. Maz and I talked about this yesterday. Can't go wrong with an AC/DC cover band.
No.
Have you ever seen them? I heard they're good.
I haven't, but that sounds very good.
What's coming up? It's the day after. Is that the day after St. Patrick's Day?
Tuesday?
When's St. Patrick's Day? 17th?
I think so.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
There it is. We're giving away 2 tickets to that. Or you got to put hockey, and then if you want, you can put golf at 936-6262. And we got 2 hours of sim golf at the Royal Regina Golf Course. But you have to let us know, who are you cheering for now in the Western Hockey League with the Regina Pats and Moose Jaw Warriors eliminated from postseason play? What's your team? Is it Saskatoon? Is it Swift Current, who's going to be in tough if they stay in that 8th seed? Is it the Prince Albert Raiders, who the Blades could overtake tonight with a huge 2 points? I'm even throwing Brandon in the mixer. Lethbridge, we got a Medicine Hat already. Who's this from? We got Saskatoon Blades on the text line. Lots of Saskatoon Blades. Bob from Regina says PA Raiders. Swift Current Broncos. Let's hear from the Southwest people. This guy's saying you pick. I just want to golf at the Royal. Yeah, but it's there's a big 2 points on the line. If you're not doing anything this evening, puck drops 7:00, or you can listen to it right here on 620 CKRM with the pregame show starting at 6:30. It's kind of playoff hockey for the Saskatoon Blades. We're going to have head coach Dan DaSilva coming up in hour 3. From the Regina Pats, we're going to have Zach Moore in hour 2 at around 4:30. Zach was traded from the Saskatoon Blades last year to the Pats, and that's when the Blades had the wagon.
Right.
So there's no doubt that was tough for him.
Oh, for sure.
You've been around a lot of junior hockey. I'm sure you had to tell guys.
I like him as a player. I really liked him when he was with the Contacts. I watched him a few times, and then moving down the highway here from Saskatoon to Regina, going from, like you say, a bit of a top end team at the time and coming to a Pats team that's obviously in a bit of rebuild mode here. But good young player that I enjoy watching. Skilled guy that likes to play really hard. So like that mix.
Chad messaging in. He just wants to golf. You got to let us know what team. We're pretty simple. What team are you cheering for now? But yeah, Zach Moore. I started looking through and I'm like, yeah, he was on that Contacts at Berkeley Catton, the 1 year on that Contacts team. They had a good squad. The other thing that came down today, and I'm glad I had you on the show again, tied to hockey, you've coached, you've played, was it came down this afternoon. Darren Dreger actually had it later this morning. U Sport. Hockey players who have played pro will be eligible to play U Sport with the no sit out of 365 days. It will be effective this fall. So young players that are playing pro now can come back to U Sport. Could be a little bit of a game changer for deep pockets.
Well, yeah, for sure. Like that's a significant change. So what that essentially means is guys that are, graduating from the Western Hockey League or Junior A, if you will, they can go flip their hand at the East Coast League or even the American League and go and try and make a go of it at the pro level. And if it's not really what they're after, it doesn't really work for what they see in their future, they can come back and still get their education and still play at a high level. So it's going to add definitely another element to recruiting and the growth of talent within U Sports. So it's an interesting change. It's going to make it harder potentially on some younger guys to come in. When I say younger, 21-year-olds coming out of junior, but it's probably the proper response to the NCAA change there as well. That a lot of those Western League guys will end up in NCAA that used to end up in U Sports. So good change there. But I remember guys when I was playing college.
Christmas.
Yeah,
there's always that Christmas. You had to come back.
They used to be able to come back before the second half started of their first year, so they could go down for the first half of Christmas or first half of the season, then kind of make their decision. And there was guys around the league and that would come back and not play for a year, maybe play senior in Alberta or play senior in Saskatchewan and kind of sit out that year. And then go back and play university. But that's a big change to be able to come right back from pro and step right into U Sport team.
I think it might be tough. Like I said, for the teams, you got to have deep pockets.
Yeah,
they ain't coming back for for free? And then again, how does the whole scholarship thing going to work? If you go, what? So there'll be a lot of moving parts to that. Very interesting news, though, as well. We are an hour in the books already. Hour 2 starts with our friend Arash Madani. It's the Sports Cage streaming live here at the Brandt Center on X at sportscage.com, and as always on the mighty 620 CKRM. Live at the Brandt Center tonight, you got hockey here. Regina Pats and Saskatoon Blades, 7 p.m. puck drop. Big game for the Saskatoon Blades, points-wise. Other hockey in the city. Game 3 at the Cooperator Center, 7 p.m. AAA female playoffs, Notre Dame and the Regina Rebels. Notre Dame won 3-1 last night, so they're taking her to a Game 3 tonight. Also, a couple of senior ones. Kyle Keniston, Game 2 in Keniston's up 1-0 there. That's in the Valley final. And Moosomin Redvers, Game 1 in the Big Six. Both those at 8 p.m. Ryan Pollock is my co-host today and this evening. If you're out east, it's this evening. That's where we're going to go right away. Also, Colson and the Allen Sheriff back at the booth, and Curtis is here. Let's go out east. Let's talk to our man, Arash Madani.
It's time to go coast to coast with Arash Madani for Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Gawley at Smart Investing Solutions, 546-2533.
Hello, Arash Madani, where are you? I don't see you on the stream, on the feed here. Big shooter. I hear the rock and roll music. Is he there? Arash Madani.
How we doing, guys?
There you go.
I got you loud and clear. How we doing?
There you go.
That timing intro was just perfect there.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I thought we lost. I was like, oh, where was it that you were going through tunnels and...
President's Cup. Montreal President's Cup in the fall, yeah.
Yeah. I haven't paid it close enough attention today, not going to lie, to NFL free agency. Is there a winner, and maybe non-quarterback? Is there a winner yet, or what are we looking at? Is it the New England Patriots?
I wouldn't go there. I would say player-wise, I think Davante Adams has come out okay. Davante Adams got 2 years of good receiver money, coming off 2 years of being incredibly unproductive in bad situations with the Jets this year, the Raiders prior. And now he's going to be with Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua and Sean McVay and a Rams team, guys, that was like 2 or 3 plays away from beating Philadelphia in the divisional playoff. Like, I think that of all the fits from a free agent roster or skilled guy who's been on the move so far, to me, Davante Adams is it.
Why did Buffalo go and sign John? Like, I think he was under contract for 2 or 3 more years. Why would they go and sign him? What am I missing there?
Okay, so try and follow me on this one. So, yes, Josh Allen was under contract, and he was grossly underpaid for quarterback standards. He was shy of $40 million. I mean, how are you going to live on $40 million a year, right? So what the Bills have done coming off an MVP season is they're trying to get ahead of it. Because think about who's coming up for a contract soon. That number 15 down in Kansas City. And nobody gets cheaper. That's the thing. It's that now Allen makes $1 million more guaranteed than Dak Prescott, who had been the highest paid player in the league. So now Lamar's going to be coming up. Burrow's going to be coming up. Mahomes is going to be coming up. And so the Bills are just saying, you know what, we'll give you the most now so that we're kind of covered for the next few years. And if you're good with just $1 million more than Dak, we're going to go get some weapons around you. And they went and got Josh Palmer, the Toronto kid who the Chargers drafted in the 5th round. They just gave him a 3-year deal. They're trying to surround him with some weapons. And so now they have a happy quarterback, an extended quarterback. He's locked up going into a new stadium, and that's why it all shook down the way it did.
Do you think KC jumps and does Mahomes next right away, or what are your thoughts there, Arash?
It's a good question, Ryan. I don't know, because what they keep doing there is they keep kind of rejigging Mahomes' contract, where he's getting every year more cash up front and kind of kicking the salary cap hit down the road. So, when he signed his $500 million contract or whatever it was during COVID, everyone was like, oh, wow, this is crazy, richest deal ever. And very quickly, it didn't become it. So is Mahomes happy with the cap hit being what it is, the cash he's getting, through bonuses, how you can structure deals and all that kind of stuff? I think Mahomes right now wants help. And after being under siege in that Super Bowl and that Philly pass rush just going to work on him, they just went and locked up Jalen Moore to be their left tackle. They're Trey Smith, their interior guard. They franchise tagged him. They have Creed Humphrey, their center, under contract. I think Mahomes is telling KC right now, let's go for it this year, and then we'll figure out the contract next.
At the end of the season, it looked like change was coming for Myles Garrett, and now he signs again. So make that all make sense for us.
I want out. I want Trey. Never mind.
Well, I think it's two things. One, it's amazing what $130 million guaranteed can do to change your mind, right? But the other is, guys, doesn't it just seem like the Cleveland Browns try and throw all the money at a situation just to hopefully fix it and it'll all go away? Like Deshaun Watson.
You know what I heard today from a guy that's actually the Cleveland Browns are the guy that buys a new house because his marriage is struggling, and he's like, "What? Let's just buy a new house. That'll fix it." That's the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. It's like you have all the dirty dishes after a party, and you're just like, you know what? Let's just sell the house. Like, they keep throwing money at situations. Deshaun Watson told them way back when, I want nothing to do with it. Then they gave him the fully guaranteed deal. Now with Myles Garrett. Look, I get it. You need to have your own. If you want to go get other free agents, you have to say, well, at least we're keeping ours. But I just don't know how Myles Garrett is any closer to what he wants, being on a winning team, now by signing this deal. It's bizarre.
Sam Darnold is going to Seattle.
Yes.
He had a good year. There's no doubt about it. What happened at the end. Has he looked at the weather, what he's going to be playing in Seattle? Is he going to be good in those conditions? Like, he played half of his game in a nice, comfy dome last year.
He did.
And who does he throw? Like, Metcalf is out of there. Speaking of, he wanted to go to warmer weather and have someone that can get him the ball. Now he's in Pittsburgh, which the weather there is suspect at best, from November on. And he's got no one to throw him the ball. So those two moves, I can't make sense of those. I guess money talks, right?
Yeah, for $150 million, DK Metcalf was willing to wear a turtleneck. Here's the thing about Darnold. He went into Seattle in terrible conditions and wind and rain and all that kind of stuff and won the Vikings a game this year. And it's really fascinating just how the narrative around Darnold went, because when Minnesota was 14-2, it felt like he was about to get not quite Josh Allen money, but all the money. And then lays an egg in Detroit, and nothing then went right the next week in the playoffs against the Rams. And I don't blame him for a lot of that. He was, it was basically what Patrick Mahomes went through in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly Sam Darnold just lost all the shine. So you go from 14-2 to then losing back-to-back games, and then it's like nobody wants you. It's fascinating how quickly it can just change like that.
That's who's going to throw the ball to Metcalf in Pittsburgh among other guys? Who do you think ends up there? Is it Rodgers, or they go back with Wilson? Or am I crazy to think that we haven't been talking enough about your boy Kirk Cousins?
Like, I'm trying to figure out the Pittsburgh situation through the lens of Mike Tomlin. Like, to me, Mike Tomlin wants nothing to do with Russell Wilson anymore, or Kirk Cousins, or Aaron Rodgers. Does he feel like he's backed into a corner to have Aaron Rodgers? Is that what's going on here? Like, Aaron Rodgers hasn't had a productive football season in quite a while. Why? I guess all these guys think they can fix him, think they can change him.
Did people watch how he couldn't move? Like, he couldn't get away. Like, was anyone watching the same football as us? Yeah, I don't know.
Well, Cousins was the same coming off the Achilles.
Yeah, but I don't know about that Atlanta team. If there was as solid, especially the offensive line, as I thought maybe the Jets would be. What's up with your Vikings? What's going on there? They've kind of made some noise on the lines.
Yeah, so they gave a lot of money to an offensive guard, and they gave a lot of money to a center, and they gave a lot of money to a couple of defensive tackles. And they're almost saying, all right, Philadelphia, we're following your model. We are going to try and win games at the point of attack. They have an upgraded receiving core. They re-up their secondary for the most part. But they're saying if we can get to the quarterback and if we can block the quarterback, we're going to be okay. Aaron Jones is back in the mix. They've shoved all their chips in the middle of the table, Barney, on J.J. McCarthy, a guy who's played one professional preseason game.
Yeah, no chance of Aaron Rodgers playing indoors there one season?
You know, Barney, after 6 years of Kirk Cousins, if Aaron Rodgers shows up there, then that just might be it. That's when you just walk off the bridge.
They're in an interesting place because they're right in the mix, a year ago, and can they find a way to take another step? But now they lose Sam, and as Arash says, they go back to essentially a rookie quarterback, right? He is a rookie quarterback, and
top 10 pick.
How's Jefferson gonna like that?
So a team that feels like they're on the brink, did they move forward or did they move backwards?
That's the question, Ryan. And it's amazing because, draft picks are lottery tickets. McCarthy looked good in camp, they said. He had an okay first preseason, better than okay first preseason game, but you still don't know. And his senior year in college, they win the national championship. J.J. McCarthy was handing the ball off to Blake Corum. Like, they have invested all around this football team in free agency, and it seems like they're just going to go with the kid and believe in the kid. It's a fascinating gamble, and it feels like a gamble.
Have you heard anything? I know we're going to talk on Thursday, so I got to leave you with a bit of a tease. Have you heard anything on the CFL commissioner front?
I actually haven't. You have a look on you have a look on your face like you know something.
My guy, he said, ask Arash if he's got any updates. And ask if there's any news on CFL expansion. I've read this guy's plan. You're going to get it soon. He's got a plan here. And I teased you with the Ticketmaster thing that you thought was pretty cool last week. He's got a plan on different revenues, streams coming in where you don't need the 20, 30,000 people to have a team work. He's a finance guy. He's a numbers guy. He's not a former player. So I don't know how it goes. And I think, is that wrong if the league goes to maybe an outside of the box thinking on this?
It's a good question. I think the number one thing that the league has to focus in on, I understand all these things. And I like outside the box thinking because I find that for a long time they've just been doing the same thing. But the number one biggest revenue generator is their broadcast deal. And that deal is up in a couple of years. And that's what pays. Yeah, that's what pays the salaries. So to me, number one priority is getting that locked up and then bring everything else. But you need somebody who's going to be able to make that happen. And if they do, great.
Or a
yeah.
He's got, from when I was reading it, he's looking at leagues around the world which had TV deals and TV partners, but now have streaming parts to a TV deal and other revenues, not just one TV deal. So I'm waiting. I'm just like, when can we go with this? And I just wanted to know if you've got any inside baseball on your end, maybe by Thursday.
By Thursday. Okay.
Well, it's the interesting conundrum is the TV deal more valuable because it's an exclusive, or the more pieces of pie that you break up, does it become more valuable or less valuable?
I just don't know how many places it can land anymore, unless there are streaming services willing to pay. And I just don't know the answer to that question. Are there for the CFL? I just don't know.
And gambling, he's got some real interesting thoughts on the gambling front. But let's circle back on Thursday. Okay, thanks, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Talk soon, Arash.
Coast to coast with Arash Madani for Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Golly, especially right now. If you're looking at the markets and what's happening today, give Big Bri a call, 546-2533. Ask him if there's, hey, what should I be buying low here? Because they're volatile, and I'm not a big market guy, but I was looking at things and I was like, ooh-wee. Wonder what Brian thinks about that. Quick break. When we come back, we might slide in our SJHL report with Commissioner Kyle McIntyre. It's a SportsCage streaming live from the Brandt Center at sportscage.com and on X. Former Nick Service in Emerald Park. My first one last night, we talked about this at the start of the show. Moose Jaw Estevan, Game 5, AAA Midget. It was do or die for both teams, and it was Carson Dykert leading the Moose Jaw Warriors with 2 goals, 1 assist. Luke McKechnie in net, kicking 29 pucks away. Moose Jaw 5-2 over Estevan. So Carson and Luke are my clutch performers. Coulson, I heard you have one, possibly the Sheriff as well.
Yeah, I just got to get our car set up here. So, but
we can talk.
We can go straight to clutch performers too. My clutch performer is a guy by the name of Tom.
Right on, Tom.
Yeah, you'll see it here. He won a contest last night with the at the Sacramento Kings and New York Knicks game.
All right, we're gonna go with Tom. Tom, good luck, dude. Attempt the perfect pump. So close. He just got a perfect pump, baby.
So for those who are listening, he just they brought out a fake gas pump on to the court, and he had to get it exactly $25, and he nailed it. Older looking gentleman, definitely spent a lot of the time at the pump, so knew what he was doing.
I'm glad you explained that for the listeners that couldn't see it.
Yeah, it was. It looked like it could be staged quite easily, but that's a good one, Tommy boy. Okay, Alan, let's go. What's yours?
My clutch performer has to go with Linus Ullmark from the Ottawa Senators. 1, because he had a really good game, and 2, because he was a gentleman when he told the other reporter to be quiet and let Claire Hanna talk for a question.
Our friend Claire Hanna.
Oh, good one. Good one, Alan. You know what? Can we go? Oh, here it is. Do we have the audio?
No. Or 2, doesn't matter. Should have the same mindset either way.
Do you even hear the crowd go loud when you make these things? Or
say what?
Do you even hear the crowd?
No, I'm just trying to focus on the next task at hand.
What were your emotions?
No.
What made it so hard to describe this game?
Oh, that's good. Good one, Alan. And then can we go? Did you guys see this last night? The jump punch.
Oh yeah.
Do you have the video, Colson? Sorry, I should have teed it up. This was last night.
Benoit
from the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's kind of like Kevin Bieksa.
Yeah.
Remember when he did that? So yeah, those are our clutch performers for Nick Service in Emerald Park, your local Massey Ferguson, Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fent dealer. Call 7A. What's the number, Barney? 781-1077. Nick Service in Emerald Park. We're going right into our SJHL report here for Southie Mainline Chrysler, the new king of trucks in Southie, Saskatchewan. I'll just read this one, boys. Over $260,000 in discounts across remaining 2024s right now. $2,000 off to $16,000 off at Southie Mainline Chrysler, the new king of trucks in Southie, Saskatchewan. Kyle McIntyre, commissioner of the SJHL, is joining us right now because Benny's on. Where is Benny?
Well, I don't know if there's any truth to the rumor, but I heard he might have been eloping this week.
People still do that?
Well,
it's not a bad play.
Maybe you're from Melville.
It's not a bad play as well. Almost right before playoffs, Benny is out of here. Okay, so what I usually ask Benny is games of the week, but since we have you here, just quickly, the league where we are right now, the parity, some of the first round matchups we can have as the commissioner. Obviously, pretty pumped.
Okay, but all we know for certain is who's going to finish first and second in the SJHL right now. So we have Melfort and Flin Flon up top, and then we have an absolute logjam from 3 to 7. And some of our teams have 2 games left. Some of them have 3. Every single one of those games could determine a playoff position. And so when you look at Highway 10, you look at Melville and you look at Yorkton, right now they're both in a 4 or 5 spot. SaskTel game of the week Friday. They have the next 2 games are head-to-head against one another. So in effect, those are 8-point games, and those could be swings. And so if Yorkton wins out or Melville wins out, that could determine home ice advantage. But Weyburn, who's sitting in the 3rd spot, that might not be secure either. They have to win at least 1 game to remain in 3rd. Humboldt and North Battleford in 6 and 7. So you have North Battleford and Humboldt. If they both win out their games this weekend, North Battleford, who's presently 7th, could conceivably slide into 6, and then Battleford would be in 7, which means they would play Flin Flon. So we will not know the final outcome until probably Saturday night late. But I think if I'm picking the games of the weekend, it's the precursor to the first round of playoffs. It's Yorkton and Melville, home and away. And those games are going to be hotly contested. And conceivably, those teams could be playing 7 games in a row over the next 2 weeks.
That old popular twirl. Who's looking at the playoff picture right now and saying, we're going to need extra gas money. Might have to go to Flin Flon.
Well, right now, probably the 2 teams that could possibly go to Flin Flon will be Battleford or Humboldt. And so Humboldt has some business they're probably going to try to take care of tonight. They visit Weyburn. They win that game, they're going to solidify their spot in probably the 6th spot. And so then we could see a rematch of our Canterra Seeds Cup final from 2 years ago with Battleford traveling to Flin Flon having the home ice advantage.
Head coaching, I think they just did the call, came out today in Estevan, looking for a head coach and general manager there. The league as a whole, though, this year, happy with where we are?
Yeah, it's been excellent. We've had, as you know, we're part of the Western Canadian Development Model, so we've been following Western Hockey League rules with both the AJHL and MJHL, and it has really increased the pace of play and the amount of offense that we see in the league. The officials have been great because many of our officials work in both the Western League and U Sport and the SJHL as being a developmental league. And so I think our officiating overall has been good. I think our coaches have run quality programs, and we see that by the parity in the league. We've seen lots of improvements with some programs. We see a couple programs, like, unfortunately, bittersweet, that Notre Dame is going to be transitioning to Warman, of course.
The Wolverines,
yes. Like the colors. Some people don't like the colors, but I know you're a fan of them, Barney. But I think that's great for our league. Warman is the fastest growing city in Saskatchewan. It was the fastest growing city in Canada for a number of years. Beautiful facility. a very large minor hockey system with lots of boys and girls that play hockey. And I think this is going to be a tremendous opportunity for the players who are presently on the Hounds. I think it's going to be awesome for Warman, and it's going to be awesome for the SJHL.
Yeah, is exactly where I was going to go, of building that excitement looking ahead after the playoffs with Warman coming into the league. But I saw the jerseys. I like them. I think the color combo is really cool. It's fresh look, right? It's not just a copycat kind of jersey, but that's awesome. And lots of excitement around. Obviously, Junior A has been in the focus for a lot of this year with some different changes, coming across the landscape and all that. And how have you guys just overall kind of managed that messaging down to teams and having players stay engaged and know that there's still lots of great opportunity out there for them?
Well, it's you got to be the voice of reason, I guess, or the voice of calmness. And some people, I'm sure there are people who have been critical that I haven't been more aggressive in terms of marketing the league. But I think we have a very strong league. We have lots of parity. I think we probably have the strongest Junior A league in Canada. I think we provide lots of opportunities for our players to both move up to NCAA or U Sport or to the Western Hockey League. We're truly a developmental league. We run a good product. We've been around for 60 years. The sky is not falling. We have excellent attendance this year. Our communities really support our teams. The relationship we have between team and community is symbiotic. The community needs the team needs the community. It's really a sense of identity. Our players do lots of outreach in the community. The best players, the cream always rises to the top. I think the best players are still going to get opportunities. I think that in between the transfer portal and the CHL eligibility, it's all going to settle at some point. Yeah. It's not going to be this year. It's probably going to be next year or the year after. But I've been very impressed with the number of our players that have opportunities through U Sport this year, probably higher than usual. Normally we have about 14 or 15, and typically we have about 40 to 45 with both Division 1 and Division 3. And then we have probably about 12 or 13 ACAC. Those things are still happening. I think this year things are going to be delayed because of the transfer portal. The transfer portal really has not been a huge thing for the NCAA in hockey. It is in basketball. It is in football. It's absolutely crazy, right? But in hockey, really, there's only kind of been probably 200 people in the transfer portal previously. I think that's going to become a lot more active with some of these CHL kids that are going to some of the smaller programs that seem to be recruiting most of the CHL players right now. And sometimes, number one, you got to be a student first and foremost. You have to be a student athlete. And we all know as people who used to play hockey, not everyone that plays hockey is a student. Not everyone can win a spelling bee. And so that's going to be a rude awakening for some people. And sometimes the grass is not always greener on the other side of the fence. So I think some people are going to have a great experience. I think some people will not have a great experience. It is best for kids, so I can get behind it. But I think our league still, it's a quality game. It's a fast game. It's fun to watch. Our fans have been engaged. And who would have thought at the start of the year, September 20th, that we would be fighting until March the 17th to determine our playoff position. Right. That's awesome.
Okay, before we let you go, we always have the Southie Mainline Chrysler Worth the Drive game of the week. When Benny's with us, what's your game of the week, Commish?
It's Melville Yorkton. That's going to be, I think that's going to be if that series comes to fruition, that's going to be our best first round series.
Awesome.
There'll be lots of movement back and forth. But this weekend, those games are going to be absolute doozies.
Friday night, 7 p.m. is the first one in Melville.
Yep.
The house that Benny built. Right on. Commish, always a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen.
Taking some time. That is your SJHL report for Southie Mainline Chrysler. The new king of trucks in Southie Saskatchewan 2024's $260,000 in discounts right now. Yeah, Colson, can you throw up the SJHL standings just one more time here? If you can. I just want people that are watching the stream see how tight things are in the SJHL right now. Like the commish said, it's going to come down. It's exciting, right? For a former Junior A guy, Ryan.
Yeah, nice and tight. Ultimately, that's what you want to see. You want to see these games matter right down to the end, and then setting up a classic Melville Yorkton season-ending series that could determine a playoff matchup. It really doesn't get any bigger than that, and it's going to be two absolutely packed barns this weekend and moving ahead into the playoffs as well.
One interview right into the other. We got to get this guy. He's probably got to go downstairs and start stretching out and getting ready. Zach Moore joining us from the Regina Pats. It's the Pats and Blades tonight here at the Brandt Center, 7 p.m. Zach, thanks so much for coming up and hopping on. Ryan and I were talking before that for you, it's, you're a Saskatoon guy, Contacts alum, right? Did you know that Kyle McIntyre, who was just on, his father for a number of years was the government, the owner, right?
Oh yeah, the Jim Mack Cup.
Jim Mack
Cup. Legendary where I'm from. So, yeah,
exactly. You first off, we were talking about the Contacts team. Like when you played, I think it was 21 and 22 season. You got a chance to play with a couple of guys that are doing some cool things, and Noah Chadwick, especially Berkeley Catton.
Oh yeah. I mean, the stats, everything says it all. I mean, to play with them, it's pretty special. They're one of a kind players. So, I mean, there's not much else to say about that.
When you go back to that, and interviewed guys and they talk about, Berkeley played as an underage and he came in and he scored, and Kevin Korchinski tells the story. Is there something that you really remember about Berkeley and just his talent and what kind of player he was?
I mean, I grew up playing with Berkeley, even through all of our childhood, we were pretty close friends. So I mean, kind of just seeing the work that he put in, he had a rink in his backyard and we were over there every day, and he would be out there for hours. I'd be freezing, wanting to go in, and he'd be like, "No, we gotta shoot 100 more pucks. We gotta do stick handling, whatever." So just the time he spends, I mean, I think that's what really separates him from everyone else.
As a Saskatoon guy too, right? Looking at your stats here, I love it. The Saskatoon Stallions, shout out Stallions, actually upset in round 1 too. They're continuing on in the Bantam AA this year. And then you go Contacts, and then you get to play with the Saskatoon Blades. Hometown, playing for the Blades. How special was that?
I mean, it started on draft day when I hear my name get called to them. I mean, it's kind of surreal, right? You don't really realize that you actually get to stay at home. All your buddies are still there. You go to the same school. I mean, it's kind of just surreal. And then, you get to play in front of your family every night, and all your friends come and they watch. And I mean, it's a cool experience that not everyone gets to live.
I don't want to go too far back on the Blades, but one more for the Blade. Who was your favorite Blade of all time when you were growing up and watching?
I think it's hard to say, because when I was real young, I don't really remember the players, but when I was growing up, Doc was always a standout. I mean, the skill he had was unbelievable. So he's the one guy who kind of stood out to me.
Yeah, good one.
So awesome feeling being able to play in your hometown, and then last year you get traded down here to Regina. How does the emotion change now on a day like today with Saskatoon coming in, and you get to play not only your former team but your hometown team as well?
I mean, it kind of just lights a fire under you. You kind of want to. It gives you that extra boost almost to play good against them, and have an impact for the team you're playing on now, which is Regina. And I kind of just want to do everything I can to win, and playing against my former team, it just kind of gives me that fire.
Are you guys talking in the locker room? You're a young, scrappy team. You're not going to make the postseason this year, but you got a team that really needs points coming in here in Saskatoon. Are you guys, kind of, hey, we can play the spoiler. We can really stick it to these guys a bit.
Yeah, we know how much this game means to them. I mean, they're looking for that first spot in our division. So, I mean, to kind of spoil that for them, it's a good feeling if you can do that. So, I mean, we've had a couple words about that, how they're a team that can be got. So, I mean, we're just going to try and do that.
Maybe speak to the dynamic of your locker room, your team. I mean, I don't think it's any secret, Zach. You guys have seen it. You've heard it around town that you're in a little bit of a rebuilding mode. But the one thing I give you guys credit for is you play hard every single night that I've watched you play, and you're in a lot of games. You're in it right to the end. Some go your way, some don't go your way. But I really give you your group credit for how hard they come and compete and work every night. So maybe just touch on, is it Coach Haroff is really giving you guys that good lead, or do you have that good leadership in the room and want to play for each other in a season that, like Barney says, you're not going to make the playoffs now, but you keep working right to the end?
I mean, it starts in our room. I think honestly, we have a good group of older guys that kind of set the example, and just with all of our moving parts this year, just kind of building that chemistry within our group and even just bonding off the ice. And I mean, I think it's going to lead to on-ice success. So just kind of keeping that positive attitude going into each game is going to be huge for us.
What one of the questions we're asking listeners today to text in at 936-6262 is once the Pats and the Warriors aren't going to make the postseason, who are people out there going to be rooting for when it comes to WHL Saskatchewan teams? Maybe it's Brandon, maybe it's Medicine Hat. Will you pay close attention to the playoffs, and will there be like a little bit of a Go Blades in you?
I mean, not anymore. I think like
Good for you.
I'm fully in the Pats. I'll watch the playoff games even throughout the regular season. I watch most games if I can. And kind of
sticking with the crew.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, as Braxton Whitehead came out, the huge news, right? Opening up the door, and then where we are now, so many kids, players that are older in the league now have opportunity and options. As a younger guy, and I'm sure the NHL and the pro, all that's still there as well. What does that mean for a younger guy to go, oh, well, maybe down the road, schooling and then going to play NCAA could be a possibility for a younger guy?
I mean, yeah, it's just another option. It almost gives younger guys another reason to work that much harder, because you got that many more people to beat out if you want to go to that NCAA level. So it's just another opportunity for guys.
Right on. Well, always a pleasure to talk to a fellow Saskatoonian. Have a good one tonight against the Blades. Yeah, I know we got Coach DaSilva coming up here in a bit. You're trying to stick it to them tonight, right? Those 2 points. Zach, have a great rest of the year, and looking forward to next year.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
Regina Pats, Zach Moore joining us here live. We are streaming, and we're live at the Brandt Center, Pats and Blades tonight on 620 CKRM. Thanks to young Zach Moore from the Regina Pats coming by. Pats Blades tonight. Still got the Saskatoon Blades coach coming up in hour 3. Our Western Hockey League reports are always for extreme hockey and sport in Regina. If you're thinking about tarps and setups and kits, as they call them, for baseball or your spring hockey team, Umbrella Marketing at Extreme Hockey can help you out there. Extreme Hockey also now in the lacrosse game, and you can go and check out everything there. Big points for the Pats, or for the Blades tonight.
Yeah, huge. I heard you when I was just making the trek over here when the show started, talking about the difference between finishing first in the division, second in the conference, and even lining up potentially that 7th spot versus the 6th or 8th spot.
And get the standings up here.
Yeah, it's a monster there, and you can slide into that division lead there and be the second-ranked team. You're playing, you're playing another division opponent and avoiding a little bit of the Lethbridge, Calgary, Medicine Hat gauntlet there.
I did get some word from a unnamed source. Prince Albert Raiders parting ways with Jeff Truitt yesterday with 6 games left in the season. As a guy that coached junior hockey, very weird timing, all that. I guess his contract was up. They were negotiating. He wanted to negotiate maybe a little bit one way, and they said, well, and they haven't been playing, as I think as good as a lot of people are expecting there. So they thought this is a time to cut ties. I still think very odd with 6 games left.
Yeah, extremely odd. Yeah, it was a surprise. I was actually on the phone with a WHL coach yesterday afternoon, and I
thought you were going to say with Prince Albert. They're asking you to come up.
No, that ship has sailed. I was fishing around the website, and I saw that as I opened it up, and I was like, whoa, what? And he was a little bit shocked as well, but yeah, it's an interesting timing move. Obviously, their prerogative if they felt like contract wasn't going to go the right way, but interesting with 6 games left and sitting in a playoff spot there.
And it's a community-owned team, so those kind of decisions don't happen lightly. Like there's a number of different people that would be involved, the board,
likely made by a board. So which if I don't know the intricate workings, but if I was a guessing man, then it was made by a board, which means it's got to go back and they got to have a board conversation and explain where things are heading and where they believe they're going to go, and then be able to justify the change. So interesting timing for sure.
Prince Albert, so the Blades have a game in hand, which is tonight, and they trail Prince Albert by 1 point. So a win tonight puts them into second in the Eastern Conference, which is first in the Eastern Division. But yeah, that's second place. And as it stands right now, they would not easy because Marty Murray's Brandon Wheat Kings and what Brandon can do, especially in that barn, never easy. But yeah, the second place right now. And but Brandon is tied with Saskatoon. They could move up as well. Like the division, the conference is so tight. I don't know where things are going to land, and not a lot of hockey left. A lot of teams with 6, some teams with 5 left.
Mm-hmm.
Locally, the AAA midget. I want to get your take on the next round here. We got the Pat Canadians after Moose Jaw wins last night over Estevan. Moose Jaw is going to play Swift Current. Pat Canadians are going to take on the Saskatoon Blazers.
The annual playoff matchup, it feels like now. But yeah, it was interesting waiting to see how these other 2 series ended on Sunday and last night to see who the Pat Canadians were going to go up against. But it's the old foe, the Blazers, and I think the Blazers probably underachieved a little bit through the regular season. So it'll be an interesting matchup. I believe that the Pat Canadians have such a dynamic roster, and their top end is just so elite that it'll be a tough task for the Blazers. But the Blazers are going to come in. They're going to play very structured. They're going to play very physical. They're deep. So it's an interesting matchup, and it's going to be a tight one all the way through.
It starts tomorrow at the Sixer. Cooperator C6, that one starts. AAA female tonight. Game 3. Nothing. Oh, it doesn't matter what you're watching. A deciding game. We got Notre Dame and the Regina AAA Rebels. Last night, Notre Dame 3-1 win, forcing that Game 3 tonight. 7:00 puck drop at the Co-op. Elsewhere, we'll go to a little senior tonight. There's some league finals in the Big 6. If you're down in Red versus Moosomin's rolling into town, 8 p.m. Game 1 there. If you're in Keniston, Game 2 of the Valley. Keniston's up 1-0 on Kyle there. So there's a little recap of everything going on local. Oh, and there's a SJHL, of course, as well. Humboldt's in Weyburn. That's at 7 p.m. Flin Flon, Nipawin, 7 p.m. The SJHL this year. I feel like we're gonna see a team. Melford's good.
Yeah,
Blevs is a great coach. All that, but is this the year we see some maybe like NHL style upsets?
44-7, Melford sits right now. 44-7. That's a heck of a good season right there.
Not as good as the 93-94 Melford team that Blevins was on, that pretty much ran roughshod over everybody, ran the table, went into hosted the Royal Bank Cup, and lost 1 game, the last one against Vernon. Ran into a super hot tendy.
Yep.
And that was a wild ride. But the SJHL will be interesting. We'll be all over it right here on the Sports Cage.
Hey, what a good interview with Zach Moore, eh? Good young guy, well spoken, really mature young guy. I was really impressed with him on here.
I've been impressed with everybody that we've interviewed Pats wise in the it was Ephraim McNutt last week when we were here with Sharky, and he's almost done his pilot's license.
Oh well. That's awesome to hear. Guys like that. That's impressive, and they spend a lot of time at the rink, and it's very scheduled and all that. So to hear people doing great things in school or other outside activities like that, it's phenomenal to hear. But I was really impressed with Zach, really well-spoken young guy, and you could tell asking him a few questions that he got a big smile on his face and eyes light up. He's a good young guy.
And now all in on the Pats, not cheering for the Blades in the post.
Right.
He's like, no, I'll watch, but I ain't cheering for him. We do have a giveaway going on at the Prairie Land Rentals text line 936-6262. Prairie Land Rentals since 1986, 600 Albert Street. We're giving away 2 tickets to the March 18th big Farmer Appreciation Night and Tailgate Party. It's the Pats and Swift Current Broncos, brought to you by Canada's Farm Show and Thunderstruck Ag. Also, there's a big pregame party with AC/DC cover band Hell in Black. So you can win those, or you can win 2 hours of simulator golf at the Royal Regina, the best sims in the city. All you got to do is text in 936-6262. Do you want hockey? Do you want golf? But you got to let us know who you're cheering for in the Western Hockey League playoffs this year, with the Pats and Moose Jaw Warriors not advancing to extra hockey this springtime. Hour 3 will start with head athletic therapist from the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Greg Mayer, who used to put in a lot of time here with the Regina Pats, and also head coach of the Saskatoon Blades will join us in hour 3, Dan DaSilva. It's the Sports Cage. We're live at the Brandt Center. It's the Pats and Blades tonight. We're streaming at sportscage.com, on X, and as always on the home of the Regina Pats, 620 CKRM. Hour 3. Live at the Brandt Center. Why? Because the Regina Pats and Saskatoon Blades play ice hockey tonight, 7 p.m. puck drop here. Big 2 points for the Saskatoon Blades. If you looked at the standings, that's them and the Prince Albert Raiders are battling right now. And the Pats, as we heard from Zach Moore, who joined us in the last hour, they want to take those 2 points away from them. Stick it to his old team, as they say. We're giving away a couple of Pats tickets for the March 18th game, with the pre-game appreciation party, AC/DC cover band. It's a farmer appreciation night. It's brought to you by Canada's Farm Show and Thunderstruck Ag Equipment. We got 2 tickets. If you want to go to that, 936-6262, the Prairie Land Rentals text line since 1986. You get to deal with the owner. You got to let us know what WHL team that you're cheering for when it comes to playoff season here. Maybe it's a Sasky team. A lot of people Saskatoon Blades. A lot of people Prince Albert Raiders, a few Swift Current Broncos, even a couple Brandon Wheat Kings, a couple Lethbridge Hurricanes in there. And then if you want the hockey tickets, you say hockey. If you want the 2 hours of golf in the simulators at the Royal Regina, you let us know the team and you say golf. Royal Regina simulators, we talked about it earlier. Only another few weeks?
Yeah,
4 weeks?
About 6 weeks, 5 weeks. Middle of April, they'll come down.
And they're busy.
They're busy. Yep.
I got a chance to play the Augusta. Well, it's Augusta, and they call it whatever.
The Georgia Golf Club.
Georgia Golf Club. But it's the Augusta holes with the Masters coming up here in a few weeks. That'll be nice to get out there. I tell you, I was in the Pine Straw a lot on that. But yeah, great sims. There's 4 of them there, and they're right in the lounge and bar, and it's great. So if you want those tickets, 936-6262 or the golf, let us know who you're rooting for as we get into the Western Hockey League playoffs this year. Out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, all the Greek favorites you love. Your local Western Pizza can hook you up tonight. Joining us, this one was actually a little bit of a battle to get him on. It's head athletic therapist of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Greg Mayer. Greg, I was just down. I ran and grabbed a water in the bowels of the Brandt Center here, and it's a spot that you spent a lot of time. People really don't know that you came from junior hockey to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. How did that all come about? Was that always maybe the progression for you as an athletic therapist?
No, I wouldn't say so. I mean, for years, obviously, when I was working on my certification, I worked under Ivan Goodfriend for many a training camp, and he was my, my mentor, where I learned a lot of my craft. But it was never, the end game. I mean, 26 years in the WHL. I mean, that was a long haul, and I never really, I enjoyed the job when I was there, and never really had a real end point. But it was just the timing, and when it came up, it was kind of the timing was just the right time.
When you're in the Western Hockey League, like you get to build those like friendships and bonds with players, whether it's they're there for 4 years, 3 years, coaches as well. But in your time, are you still pretty close with some of those players that you had, whether in Moose Jaw or here with Pats?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it was my last year, maybe my second last year, we were in Moose Jaw and playing the Warriors, and they have their kind of annual, like it's like a Ring of Honor type thing. And someone came up to one of the security guards and said, "Hey, there's some guys here that are asking for you." So I kind of go out and it was a combination of Sean Limpride, Brian Crampton, and Brian Sotheby, and I hadn't seen those guys, and they were my first 3-4 years in the league in Moose Jaw, and I hadn't seen them since they were like 19, 20 years old. Now they're in their kind of 30s or 40s. So, we were in Winnipeg a couple of years ago. I had a player come up to me that was my first year in the league, was watching the ice games. So yeah, there's a lot of players that went through, but there are guys that you do maintain contact with, or even when we're up in Saskatoon for training camp, there's some guys that'll, pop by and stuff. So that's a lot of relationships, and that was, probably the most enjoyable thing working hockey all those years, the players as well as the coaches, staff.
A hockey guy now working for the Riders. He's going to be making a transition to golf right before we know it.
Yeah. Ooh, you've seen Happy Gilmore, right? There's a reason I don't call it.
Hey, Greg, I'm curious. After being there for a few years now, when you're in junior hockey, you're working with a smaller group of athletes. Obviously, junior, a younger group as well. Maybe some guys that are just starting to learn a little bit more about their bodies and how it responds to different injuries and stuff. And now dealing with some older professional athletes, guys that are really educated about their bodies, their commitment to strength, their commitment to health. Have you noticed a big change in potentially how you approach it in language, or how you have to present opportunities for recovery or for getting ahead of for injury prevention and things of that nature?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the young kids, and that was one of the fun things of working with the young hockey players, is that they are like sponges, but they do have lots to learn, and not for every Connor Bedard who's at the premium of doing everything right and on top of everything. There's other guys that have to learn. But yeah, you're right, Ryan. Like in the CFL, and the thing that I've kind of had to learn going into my third season now is you're dealing with men. There's a huge difference between a 16 or a 19-year-old body to someone, as we know, when you get into your 30s, it's different. Things, are sore a little longer. The bumps, bruises, injuries accumulate. So, you're working with guys that you said they know their bodies, but they have a lot of issues coming in. I mean, there's probably not a guy that plays in the CFL longer than a couple of years, I'm finding, that is really will ever be 100%. They've got so many injuries going back to high school and college levels, and it's just a matter of working with them. And the other thing is, with them being pro, it's a livelihood for these guys. So, in the WHL, for the most part, guys are not for every, Connor, Jordan Eberle, Chandler Stevens, and those type of guys that play in the NHL. There's hundreds that don't, and they go on to be, teachers, doctors, parents themselves, and you kind of have to sometimes make your decisions based on maybe what's good for them in the long run. Whereas with the CFL and the Rider guys, we always try to, they're a bit more involved because, like I said, it is their job. It is a decision. They are willing to play probably through a lot more than maybe some people would. And I think that goes across all pro sports, not just football. I mean, because it is a profession for them. So that's kind of, the biggest, I think, difference. And you're just dealing with guys that are, again, they're for the most part more mature.
What keeps you busy during the off season? How often are you checking in with guys in general? I don't think it's out of the realm to think that some guys maybe had some cleanup done or have some lingering injuries through the off season. So how often are you checking in with guys and making reports up the staircase there to Jeremy?
Yeah, for sure. Like at the end of the season, we have our exit medicals, obviously bring all our doctors, orthopedic surgeons in, and you go through and there's probably half the team. They're good. They're like, I don't need anything. I'm, relatively healthy. I just need some R&R here from, basically end of the year till maybe January, guys really start training. Then there's other guys that we had, unfortunately, a whack of surgeries we had to get done at the end of the year, some things that guys have been playing with, and you end up doing imaging on them after the season's over, and you find out they need shoulder surgery or knee surgery. So early on, it was quite busy. You're always setting up rehab for guys, especially the Americans, because down in the States, obviously, you got to deal with the insurance programs, PTs down there. The States is a little different than Canada, obviously, because we have universal health care. So, and then we'll kind of follow up almost every month. So the first follow-up will kind of be in January after that Christmas break. Again, February, we just had another one here. at the beginning of March, and then we'll probably touch base in early April just before camp with everybody. But for the most part now, pretty much everybody is either fully recovered or they've had their surgeries and they're well on their way to recovery for getting ready for the upcoming season.
How do you continue to get better and to learn? Are you taking classes? Do you have a mentor of some sort? Like, how are you always learning?
Well, I think you're always taking classes. Like I was actually doing some studying today. We have our it's called EMR, is basically an emergency medical responder course here in April that everybody in the CFL, all the ATs have to have, and we recertify that in Winnipeg in April. So that's a pretty heavy duty course. Last year we took Brooke, my assistant, and I took a dry needling course. I'm always reading articles. Like, I like to do research and stuff. I mean, and even like you said, going back to Ryan's question about the players, like there's things that guys will come up, like AJ Ouellette this year, text me and says, hey, somebody down here says this certain therapy, this new therapy, what do you think of it? Is this something I should try? So again, it's, if it's something you don't know about, so look up online and research it and find out the answer. So I always like to kind of keep up to date as much as I can. I think obviously being an older guy, sometimes I have to do it in micro doses because it's not like it was when I was 20-some years old to be able to cram all night. But it just, even on the plane, even on the, sometimes it's a half-hour thing. Listen to podcasts. There's different people I listen to, different physiotherapists and stuff that have really good podcasts, and you'll throw those on at night before you go to bed for half an hour. So you try your best to keep up to date. And the other thing is, I think with having seasonal worker ATs and our students that come in and help us at camp, I mean, these people are right out of school. I mean, I graduated almost 30 years ago, so I learned stuff from them. And so it's always, they're up to date and stuff. And like I said, I've learned so much from Ivan that over the years, and even still with Ivan, like there's been times where we'll pick his brain and stuff because I don't think there's much the guy has not seen or has an answer to. So I'm very blessed to have him around as a resource.
Hey, any chance you and AJ Ouellette are on the same workout program this winter?
No, I don't think so. I wish it's been a long time since I was that lean. I don't think I'll ever be back there. I wish I had his hair though, to be honest.
Oh yeah, no, what he did in that 9-week transformation at his gym, whatever it was, but with his buddies, like, look at that. That is a lean mean.
Yeah, he really leaned down, and we're hoping he did all the other stuff for his hips and glutes that we kind of talked about, because he had some issues with that stuff last year. So he sounds like he's been following our directions, but good for him.
Yeah. No doubt. You talked about doing stuff on the plane and all that. You probably don't miss the bus trips and the on and off and on and all. But was there one trip when you were in the Western Hockey League that you really, really enjoyed, or maybe a place you like going to?
Well, I mean, being from BC, I always enjoyed going back to Kelowna and seeing the family and friends and stuff out there. But those are the things. Obviously, you're right. Like, and that was part of the thing. It's funny. Try to make a short story, but when the offer came across, I should say the offer, but when I was contacted by the team about an opening with the head athletic, therapist position, we had just come back with a big BC trip. I think we played 7 games all through BC. The roads were bad. Then we had to go right back to Winnipeg, and we were coming back, and it was about maybe 3:00 in the morning. I was just staring out the window around Verdun. All of a sudden, I kind of get this message come across, and it's like, "Would you be interested in talking to Jeremy?" And I'm kind of like, "I think it's time." So, but though, I mean, yeah, I got some great Cliff Mapes stories, but those are going to have to, Cliffy, we'll have to keep those. We'll have to keep those for another conversation. But those are the things that you really miss, because the bus trips, you're in a small little thing. There's lots of guys, and the Pats had such great people. I was fortunate to work with so many good people that, I remember I think it was a U.S. trip, and me and Phil Andrews and Gord Crocker and the equipment manager, I can't remember what we got on, but for 5 hours we just laughed and laughed and laughed. And it was just the stupidest thing. And it was just, but those are the things, you have to keep yourself entertained. But you're right, I do not miss going to Prince Albert playing the Raiders and get on the bus, coming all the way back the same day and stuff. And I will, I'll gladly take the plane.
You mentioned that you lean on Ivan. Does Cole Stevens here at the Regina Pass, does he reach out to you and get your insight on anything?
I haven't unfortunately had a chance to meet Cole. A couple of times I tried to get over there, but kind of with the schedule, obviously, we were fortunate enough to go to the West Finals. So, I mean, we were busy up until mid-November, and then, I took some time off. But I'm hoping kind of this year, I know with the Pats, since I left, they've kind of had, a number of different people. So I'm hoping that once the off season happens for them, I'm going to get together and bring them over for a tour of our, phenomenal facility and just kind of reach out to them. Because, the riders were always good to us, with the different trainers that were over there. If we ever had injuries and stuff, they'd let us come over, use the underwater treadmill and stuff. So it's definitely something. I know Jeremy's very big on that, helping. We got a good relationship with those people over there. And while I was there and even now too. So it's something to try to get him over here and, kind of introduce myself and be open to spreading any limited knowledge I might have.
And then finally, do you miss the Monday noon skate? Wasn't that a thing that Cliff Mapes and the boys had?
Who was it that? Was it you? Somebody offered me $30 to run Cliff over. And so I took it. I wasn't getting paid that much in the WHL at the time. So I think I took the money. I felt bad afterwards because I don't think you could walk for a week. But yeah, those are the things that you when you're in the WHL, you're at that level. I mean, it's about people. It's taking that little 60 minutes to go out and play some hockey and get burned by Jamie Heward and Silly and stuff. Those guys that have a skill, and those of us. Me and Dan Plaster on defense was not a good combination. We tried. We didn't want that talented, but we worked hard.
I was gonna say it was maybe Silly that got you to run over a cliff, but there's no way Silly's giving up $30.
No way. No.
No way.
I couldn't miss. No, I couldn't catch him.
Yeah,
not a chance.
Thanks for doing this, Greg. I think
no problem, guys.
Quite a cool story, and I know you do a fantastic job. And Dave Thomas and I were talking about, obviously he was new last year and he came in and just talking about how awesome of a guy you are. And I'm like, yeah, just get him on the ice. He'll give you a few whacks and hacks though. And,
yeah,
he's an absolute beauty. Okay, all the best. We'll see you at the field.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. We'll see you around. Take care.
Take care. Head athletic therapist of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Greg Mayer, who spent a lot of time in this rink with the Regina Pats or the Moose Jaw Warriors. It's an underappreciated gig. Like it's CFL for sure, but the guys in the Western League, like that's a lot of work.
Oh yeah, they run big operations and are essentially a one-man show. So you hear about the NHL guys rolling in and setting up locker rooms and that. At times they're a crew of 2, 3, 4 people having at it, and a lot of times these guys go out on the road and they have the therapist and the equipment guy, and they're responsible for everything for setup and skate sharpening and getting everyone ready to go. So it's an absolute grind.
The one cool story, and I can't remember, I think he was athletic therapist or was he equipment manager, one or the other, is the cool story is the Regina Saskatoon Blades in here with Steve Hildebrand.
Oh yeah.
Now the assistant general manager is on the other side of the game. He's been around the game so much. I remember, working with Global in Saskatoon and being down, and he was such a nice guy, and like would just always, have time, chit chat because you're waiting for the guys to get done. And the players love those guys, like those relationships that they build. And he said, not everybody makes the NHL, but everybody remembers, their athletic therapists, their equipment managers, they're guys that just go over and above. So it was cool to hear the story of Greg Mayer. So when people are out there seeing him on the TV or at the Mosaic Stadium, now it's like, hey, did you know that guy put in a lot of time in the Western Hockey League? It's pretty interesting stuff. We'll take a quick break. It is the Sports Cage. It's the Pats and Saskatoon Blaze tonight here under the Orange Top, 7 p.m. puck drop, and we're streaming on X and at sportscage.com. Welcome back to the Sports Cage live at the Brandt Center. Pats and Saskatoon Blades, 7 p.m. puck drop. Huge points for the Blades tonight. Pats are trying to nip them where they can. Thanks to everyone who's been joining us on the guest hotline for Western Pizza. Greek-style pizza became famous around the world, plus all the Greek and Canadian food that you just can't get enough of. Western Pizza, the local legend. The text line for Prairie Land Rentals, 936-6262. Probably a split. People that want the golf simulator passes to the Royal Regina, the 2 hours to swing the wrenches, and the ones that want tickets to the Farmer Appreciation tailgate party and game, Pats and Broncos with a little AC/DC cover band before. PA Raiders, Saskatoon Blade support from the SportsCage listeners when it comes to the WHL playoffs. We haven't got much for Brandon. There's been a couple of sprinkling of Alberta's, and I'm really surprised only a handful of Swift Current Broncos. I always cheer for the Broncos. Little town, little smallest Canadian hockey franchise in the country.
I like that rink too. There's something to be said about some of the bigger centers and, the 5, 6, 8, 10,000 spots, but I like that little rink there in Swift. It can get rocking in the playoffs. Oh boy.
Oh yeah. It can get really good. Colson, if you can throw up the Western Hockey League standings, and for people that just see the points and how the points are at a premium with 5, 6 games left for a lot of teams right there. Saskatoon sitting with 73, Brandon with 73, Prince Albert with 74. You can't. It's how it should be. How it should go down. All that. Not Western Pizza Hotline. He's live and in person. We teed it up earlier. Joining us now on the set here at the Brandt Center, head coach of the Saskatoon Blades, Dan DaSilva. Dan, thanks for coming up.
Absolutely, anytime for you, Barney.
What time did you guys roll in?
We actually got here about 4:30, so it was like a ghost town in here when we got here. Actually, I thought maybe they had canceled the game or something, but we like to get early. The guys like to arrive early and get prepared, and we just finished up some special teams meetings. So now the hard work is done. Now I get to sit back and enjoy the game.
Right. We looked at the standings there, and I think we had a chance to talk with you early in the season. You just took over as head coach. Honestly, did you think you would be where you are battling there at the beginning of the year?
It was the hope. That's what we hoped we could get to kind of maintain the level of success and compete. I guess the organization's kind of developed over the last few seasons. It was kind of like that was the hope. That was the goal, that we could get to a point where we're a competitive group and we're fighting for a playoff spot. Now, we're 1 point out of the first place in the division, so it's a whole new ball game, another motivating factor just to kind of prove people wrong. I think that a lot of people are doubting us early in the year. I think a lot of people doubted us once we made those trades at the deadline, lost a lot of our top guys, and we've just had players step up, night and night again. So, it's going to be a fun finish for sure.
I'm curious to know how does that conversation even come about? You're in first place. There's a short-term vision and long-term vision that needs to be balanced, but how does that conversation even come about to say, hey, we've got to consider making these moves? Even though we're at the top of the standings, we got to consider making these moves.
Yeah, and it was something I guess I was prepared for. I had a feeling was coming. I knew it was coming at some point throughout the year. It was something we talked about in the summertime as being, of the focus of the organization this year moving forward, is to kind of restock the shelves after, getting rid of a lot of draft picks over the last couple of seasons to make 2 long runs in the playoffs. So it's all part of the junior hockey cycle. And, our management's done an unbelievable job restocking the shelves and also putting players into our lineup this year that have really been effective and have bright futures ahead of them.
Not to single any players out, but there's always a few that it's like, we're getting more than we expected from this guy this year. Who would it be on the Blades this year?
Oh man, that's a great question. I mean, the first guy that comes to mind is Cooper Williams. He's a 16-year-old rookie. He just turned 17. He's got almost 50 points. We wouldn't be where we are without him. We wouldn't be where we are without everyone. That's hard for me to single any one guy out because we're not a team that focuses on any one guy. It's all about the team. It's all about all 24 guys that we have in that locker room, the 20 that are on the ice every night. And that's why we've had success, is getting contributions from up and down our lineup.
What did you have? What did you play as a 16-year-old? What did you have? What am I looking at? 22 points?
There's my alarm going off, so I didn't forget you. No, I was 17, yeah, 22 points at 17. So Cooper's much better than I was.
For the Portland Winterhawks. The PA games on the weekend, you take both of them. Now, PA makes a coaching change, unfortunately, or whatever happens there. When you get to this part of the season, how much of it is these meetings that you talked about before, you're just coming up here, game planning, and how much is just like athletes, we need you to be athletes and go out and win these games?
Yeah, and so the meetings, the special teams part of it is like, we've done the same structure, the same meetings all year. It feels like, it's like Groundhog Day over and over again, but you have to give them the information. You have to, have them learn from the previous night, some mistakes or areas we could have been better. And that's like the focus now, just little tweaks, and then just giving the game plan as far as this is what the other team's doing, this is how we're going to beat it. But yeah, it's a grind of a season. We played 61 games, we have 7 left, and now it's like, how bad do we really want to be first? How bad do we want to win these games? How bad do we want to have a good push here leading into playoffs? We talk about 7-game segments or whatever. That's really what this is for us. Is a mini playoff series. Our first round, kind of started already. So yeah, it's exciting. It's an exciting time of year for sure.
We've got your lengthy player playing list up there. So lots of experience as a junior hockey guy and on to pro, and then starting in as an assistant coach. Now senior, transitioning.
Watchers
winner. I had a senior year there too.
COVID shut me down though.
Transitioning now to being a head coach. What is there anything that's maybe surprised you that even that transition from an assistant to a head coach, that you kind of get into the season and go like, whoa, this is coming at us fast, or it's an everyday thing, or what have you? What's the learning curve like making that move?
Yeah, the biggest thing. So I'll go for first the assistant coach at getting into coaching. Just how much time goes into it. Like as players, you show up, you get dressed, you do your warm up, you go on the ice and you practice, and then you stretch, you roll out, workout maybe, and you leave. Not a lot of thinking goes into it. You just go there, show up, and work. Coaching's a lot different. It's a lot more planning, a lot more preparation, a lot more work behind the scenes, a lot more hours that need to go into that. But so that was the first adjustment, and then just stepping into head coach, I think that the stress, and a lot more of the responsibility on your shoulders. It's a lot too, like to stand up in front of the team every day and kind of give them direction, right? Have a game plan every single day. You got all these eyes on you. Hey coach, like what are we doing today? Where are we going? What are we learning? What do we get better? What are we getting better at today? These guys have, they've invested a lot of time and money into this to get to this point in their lives, and it's like the marquee, the pinnacle of their life to this point, and they all want to achieve their goals and dreams, and it's a lot of pressure that way to make sure you're helping them do that.
Yeah, I was an assistant coach at the junior A level, and then spent some time as a head coach there as well. And responsibility, the answer is what I used to refer to it as. Mm-hmm. Is every day you need to come, you need to have the answer.
That's right. Yep.
So that's kind of what keeps you up at night. Is did things go well? How do we mimic that? Did things not go well? How do we fix that? So I could see that sleep is a welcome.
That's where I do a lot of my best thinking actually, is after a game and I finally get home and I'm just laying in my bed, I'm on my phone or just closing my eyes. I'm like, okay, now I've had time to debrief. We usually watch the games after on video, and then it's like, okay, so what are we doing tomorrow? What's the game plan here?
What's a coach? Is there a coach? Is there a mentor, that you're leaning on or asking questions to, like from your lengthy playing career?
Yeah. So obviously I learned a lot from Brendan Sawney, working under him for 3 seasons. And then Mitch Love is another guy I've leaned on a little bit throughout the season. Just, he was a teammate of mine my first 3 years pro hockey. We lived together as well each year, so we were roommates as well.
Oh, wow.
Got to be really close during that time. And he's actually how I got into with the Blades, because he was still head coach here. And I had just retired, and he was the first person I spoke to about. I actually interviewed with him, which is kind of funny. And after knowing him for so long, I had to do an interview with him.
You still have this when we were roommates. I want it back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And but then he ended up departing, and Brendan took over, and they kind of. Mitch had mentioned to Brendan that I was interested, and then that's how I got into it. But those 2 guys would be the biggest influences, I would say, coaching wise right now.
It's kind of cool, right? Like, you're a Saskatoon guy. Saskatoon Contacts, then you played Portland and all that, but Saskatoon guy, and then now there's a guy, Ryan Keller, who's taken over and diving in, feet first with the Contacts as the head coach and general manager.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I spoke with him shortly after it was announced, and I congratulated him. And Ryan's a very smart hockey mind. I think he's going to do a great job there. Obviously, they're looking to turn that organization around a little bit. They've had some down years, but I think they have the right guy at the helm to do that.
Well respected is something I'd say about Kells
for sure. Yeah,
for sure. What did you think about the Belcher on the weekend?
I never got to go. Unfortunately, we were playing, and then but I heard stories that it was just an unbelievable atmosphere in there. 3,000 people just blowing the roof off. The glass was swaying. I thought that was really cool, and big congratulations to those guys on getting it done, and all the best to them in nationals.
It's not the Rutherford.
No, yeah, no, it's not. But
scraping the ice.
Yeah, no doubt. But that's cool. Very cool for them.
Was that a barn? Well, Dan, it's awesome what you guys have been able to do to get the Blades in the spot that they're in. It had Lester on a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, what is it, 50-50 people that don't get how fortunate they are to be in this kind of pseudo rebuild and still going to be able to play playoff hockey in Saskatoon, right? Because it's something that you just don't see.
No. And I mean, it's credit to everyone. Like, I don't think I can take credit for it. I don't think management can. It's also the players on the ice, the ones that have to go out and play the game. They're the ones that go out there and do it. But it's credit to everyone in the organization kind of having a big bounce or quick bounce back here. Like, I think everyone outside of our circle thought that we'd be, in the standings a little bit lower down. No disrespect to Moose Jaws or Reginas of the world. That's just where they're at. I think that's where people saw us being at when they came into the season too. So it's just, it's holding ourselves to a really high standard and expecting the most out of the players and ourselves.
We'll give the credit to Hilty.
Yeah, Hilty's done a great job
and
too.
Angle.
He wears many Jerome. Yeah, well, Hilty wears many hats, and Jerome's just getting back from Hawaii. So I don't know who you want to give credit to.
Thanks for making some time. Nice to see you.
Absolutely.
And best of luck the rest of the way here.
Great. Thanks for having me.
It's the Sports Cage. We are live at the Brandt Center, Blades and Pats tonight. We're streaming at sportscage.com. Oh, Spiro bonus. Western Pizza comes as soon as I'm like, now I'm hungry. I might have to pick up a little souvlaki, some salad on the way home. You ever met Spiro? Yeah, that is the Spiro right there. Curtis is going to go over
I'm
there.
I'm going to introduce myself for sure. Not missing the opportunity.
Let's give a plug high school hockey here.
Live text coming in. Leboldus Golden Suns going to the high school city final Thursday afternoon. Just won in a shootout over the Sheldon Williams Spartans.
Shootout.
Yeah. So
clutch performers, Leboldus Golden Suns for Nick Service and Emerald Park. Another shutout for them. So who do they play? Do you know?
Not sure. I think the other game's going right now as well at a
Leboldus Thursday night.
Thursday, Belfer Arena.
They should put it at the Kinsman or the Optimist. Let's get rowdy.
Yeah.
There's some of those high school hockey stories from back that guys tell that got a little dicey.
I was at one of them. That was an interesting handshake. We'll say that much.
What two teams?
It was Riffle and Leboldus. And
Riffle and North Enders.
Well, Riffle at the time had a full-time high school hockey team. Guys didn't play for the Pac Canadians. Guys didn't play Bantam AA.
Ben Gerbinski got that team going.
Yes, yeah.
Chris Frolic, Chris Kunitz.
Yeah. Jared Danowski, guys went on to play college. Yeah. And they didn't play high school or they didn't play real City of Regina hockey. They played high school hockey.
Because
they lost 3 years in a row in the final.
They lost
3 years in a row in the final.
And then because they went to a tournament in Alaska.
Yeah, Alaska.
A tournament in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Cool setup.
Yeah. Awesome.
Really good idea.
Get Fro to tell that story one day.
And how does high school hockey work? If you play a certain double A?
Yeah, you can't play double A. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Good rules.
My son plays for Leboldus, and it's awesome. Lots of fun, and they enjoy playing it. And
final is Thursday. Cage should go live. It should go live from the Belfer. Speaking of hockey tonight, right here, obviously, at the Brandt Center, Pats and Saskatoon Blades, 7 o'clock. AAA female. Game 3. Regina Rebels, Notre Dame Hounds. This is it. It's only a 3-game series. 7 p.m. at the Co-op. It was Notre Dame 3-1 over the Rebels last night to even the series. Shout out Anna Benoit. She had the lone goal for the Rebels.
If you haven't been to one of those games, they play. It's awesome.
Can they shoot the puck now? And
it is so
skate?
Entertaining and go. It's really fun.
I'm suspecting my daughter, I think they have practice at her whole team. Maybe they'll get there for the second. I think there might be in Pence though. But yeah, that's a great watch tonight. AAA men's are going to start tomorrow. Pat Canadians Blazers at the Cooperators. The Blazers and Pat C's, like you said, their annual playoff matchup. Tonight, senior-wise, Kyle at Kenniston, Sask Valley Game 2. Kenniston's up 1-0 in that one. Moosomin is in a Redvers in the Big Six championship final. That is Game 1. That should be a doozy as well. Last night, shout out Drake over Foam Lake in Game 1 of the Long Lake Hockey League. Scored with 8 seconds left. Monday night celebration in Drake. Drake, they didn't expect much. Tomorrow I want to mention this. Sask female U18 AA South Final, Rebels versus the Golden Wings, 8 p.m. at the Ritchie. So that's U18 AA, U18 AAA tonight. There's a lot of hockey. And then SJHL. Our SJHL reports are always for Saudi Mainline Chrysler, the new king of trucks in Saudi Saskatchewan, worth the drive every time. Big 2024 discounts right now. Tonight in Weyburn, 7 p.m. Humboldt's in town. Points are key right now for those, especially for I think Humboldt, yeah. And then Flin Flon's in Nipawin in the SJHL. Good time of the year, isn't it?
Awesome time. Everything just means a little bit more right now.
Junior B starting Saturday in the 4th. Monday it's at the Ritchie.
Oh yeah.
I might have to go grab a popcorn, sit in the stands at the Ritchie and watch the Capitals and Fort Knox duke it out. They go 7 if it's possible. They go long.
Wow, that's a grind.
We're going 7. What's your take on the NHL situation? We haven't even talked NHL yet today. We kind of keep it local here on the SportsCage.
Just the NHL situation in general?
No, like the playoffs. Like who do you like? I'm all in on Winnipeg.
Yeah, I mean they're the biggest thing for me when I want to see, or if I believe a team is structured for the playoffs, it's size. And Winnipeg's got lots of it. They play a heavy game. They're very skilled. They can skate. They're deep. Depth always wins. Go back to the last how many Stanley Cup champions, and depth wins all the time. So
no state tax seems to be winning lots.
Yeah, that too, which helps you build a lot of depth. So
I mentioned it Monday with was it Monday or Friday with Harry? Like what Kevin Cheveldayoff has to do in Winnipeg with guys not with their no trades and not wanting to go to certain teams, not wanting to go to Canada. And if they go to Canada, they maybe have like Montreal, Toronto, maybe definitely not Winnipeg. And then how he's got to get creative.
Well, and they threw that player survey out a few weeks ago. I think you guys were talking about it too with Eric Francis the one day, and the number one team on the list not to go to is Winnipeg, right? So to be in this position, awesome, and they're fun to watch. Great goaltending.
Are they ever?
So they're poised to take a run. And
wouldn't it be something if they win the jug? If they're the team that breaks the,
well,
it would be something.
Yeah, it'd be Winnipeg though, and that's
I'm in.
No, it's
I'm
good.
in on the Jets. Give me a white towel. Give me a white tarp.
I think I buy into the hype there, and then it's just the road through that conference is just going to be something else though, right? Like we just spent the last 2 hours talking about the WHL and the difference there for Saskatoon and moving up and down. Like Winnipeg winning that division is going to be really big. They look at the next two teams underneath them, Dallas and Colorado. That's looking like a first round matchup right now, which is two teams that think they're winning the Stanley Cup and they're meeting each other in the first round. So
it's like when the Pats and Broncos played that one year. Both were loaded up. Last year, there was teams that were, was it Moose Jaw, Swift Current? That would be that. Does Calgary get in? I've been watching more and more of that chase. Like Utah last night, down 3-0 to the Maple Leafs, possibly sprinkled when they were down 1-0 for a little comeback. Now alone 3, they lost in a shootout. St. Louis.
Yeah, it's for me for Calgary. It's if all they got to do, it feels like right now, is just kind of stay above water. Like the other teams feel like they're coming back. St. Louis is making a little bit of a surge. Vancouver continue to kind of trip over themselves. So can they just stay ahead of the rest of the pack?
They can't score goals.
Yes, but they're getting solid goaltending on a lot of nights, and so they get in. NHL's a wild animal in that sense. You get in, and anything can happen. There's so many good players in the league, right? And there's so much focus on the elite guys, but every team has really good players, and you get in there and their ability to lock it down, and you get a hot goaltender, and anything can happen.
I hope Ottawa gets in too.
Yeah, it'd be a great story.
They're scrapping and clawing right now. They're holding on to a wild card spot. Hope that it doesn't look like Montreal's going to be able to make it happen.
Imagine though, if the New York Rangers just figure it out a little bit and they sneak in, and that's you've won the Eastern Conference, and you get to play the New York Rangers, who have just figured out what their identity game is here. So
yeah. Oh, they still have all those guys there.
Yeah.
And Shesterkin.
Yeah.
And net. No, that would be. I think it's going to be really interesting. The Leafs yesterday, wow, they look fragile at times. And then does OV do it this year?
I'm going to say yes. Like every night I'm watching, he scores. So what's for me to believe that he's not going to get one or get, 8 more in the next 15 games? And he's going to be so revved to do it and locked in that I don't see how he doesn't.
As a former coach, like, wouldn't it be so frustrating having like how he plays the game now?
Well, but
he just finds. He's a good senior player.
For sure. It's amazing. And I think it'd be even more frustrating if they were like middling right now, but they're going through this and they're like the top team in the NHL. So it's unbelievable. Usually teams on this chase, you almost get sidetracked by it in a sense, but they just keep winning night after night, and he keeps scoring. So they've got themselves
10 more games.
10 more games. And let's not forget that he missed 14 with his broken leg. Like, he's doing this in a year he has a broken leg.
Yeah.
So pretty amazing.
Colson's gonna pick the winners for the golf passes to the Royal Regina. I got 6 weeks of simulator golf left there. Thanks for bringing those by.
You betcha.
Ryan. Awesome simulators there at the Royal Regina. And then the Pats Broncos Farmer Appreciation Night tickets. Thanks to everyone who texted in, played along with us. Keith, Dan, Tim, Aaron got in late here. Thanks so much. Chad as well. Always a pleasure. Thanks for texting in on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. Thanks to Sask Lotteries, the main fundraiser for sport, culture, and recreation in our province. Pats and Saskatoon Blades, 7 p.m. here under the orange top. And don't forget, next door, AAA female tonight. Game 3, deciding game, Notre Dame, AAA Rebels, 7 p.m. at the Co-op. Thanks again, buddy, for coming in.
You betcha.
Brian
Thanks
Pollock,
for having me.
Pleasure. Sheriff and Colson, thanks so much back at the shop. Curtis did a heck of a job here. We'll talk to you on Thursday. Maz is in tomorrow. Go hockey, and we'll see what happens.